Retribution. Retribution.
AEL will rise again from the ashes, forged in flame, glory carved into
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm Star Drago, one of your casters today, with our lovely Jenna. So, we have a banter match today. Nothing that I'm going to call too crazy, too over the top, but it might be a bit of an overtake. So, everything has to be determined one way or another. Jenna, is there anything you want to tell us today? Anything you're surprised about?
Well, we've got Overtake and we've got TBD. Okay. I have seen each of these teams play individually. I saw TBD play in their most recent match against Knight. That was the match on Consulate with Marmalade. That was an interesting match. Definitely a lot of good individual plays, but I think their roster is so underformed right now, and they're going through a lot of growing pains as a team that's sort of fettered with subs. Whereas I think Overtake, they were on their map against Knight. That was a 7-0. Knight, to put it short, clobbered them. Absolutely. It was no room for Overtake to even take a round with that 7-0. It was a 30-minute stream on and off, just like that. Um, I think they had a few good rounds where they had a good startup, they had a good wind up, but I think when it gets on that first entry and they get shut down, they just lose momentum immediately, right? So I'm hoping that Overtake and TBD have, in a sense, fixed some of those foundational problems from the time that they have played their previous match that we have casted up until now. Let's look at the league standings. What you got?
So, for Retribution this time, it's going to be a tight, close match between Aeronite and Reno. That'll be interesting at some point. But for today, we actually have the ranked ninth, I believe. Yeah, ranked ninth versus what entertains me as the people who somehow got to rank sixth. As we said, not both these teams. What? I'm wondering though, something that's a bit strange. You might be able to tell me one way or another whether it's going to turn out to be a map issue. As you said, you've watched the players. There's always something going, always something to improve. I'm hoping we get to see something weird about Chile because that's the map we're going to. Let's go see the map plans and everyone can see how we got there. Oh, sorry, we have a head to head
Rich,
first. I forget. It's a wee bit
you're
different here
okay.
than it is where I go to.
You're okay. You're totally fine. We've got Overtake and we've got TBD. Obviously, both of these teams have a 1-3 win loss, right? One of them, TBD, they're on that one win streak, but TBD, they did win their one through a forfeit. We do have to put that out there. Overtake won their game 7-5 through Notorious, I believe. I believe it was against Notorious. So Overtake has actually won a physical match against a team, whereas TBD, they've only won a forfeit. So these round percentages, the plant percentages, the defense, the attack, all of that is skewed in the way of 0-3 on the side of TBD with that one forfeit, and 1-3 on the side of Overtake with them having won that match 7-5. To give a little bit of a
Hmm.
narrative, paint that picture.
It's better to know the story than just to look at the stats because, as you can see, the last matches were forfeits. It's not always going to tell you whether it's a good team, a good roster, or better players. But it does give you a hint at what operators they like to pick and what operators will like to be banned. So, an ace and a banner, but we're not going to bank this time. It is only the start, so maybe they do have a more favorite map. Maybe they have something they dislike. So, I'm going to ask you a simple question here. When it comes to the Team 1 stats, do you think they're going to be improving when we head the Team 2?
Do you think the when it comes to Team One stats, are you talking about when it comes to Overtake stats? Do you think they'll
Do you
improve
think they'll
once we look
be,
at
or do you
TBDs?
think they're better coming into this match, or do you think that this is the best they'll have? Do you think it's going to go up or going to go down?
I think optimistically, I'm going to hope that it'll go up from here. Because as teams go along in their season and as they get a little bit more comfortable with one another, as they build that chemistry, they build that momentum with one another throughout these games, my hope is that they take something away from these games, right? Their roster doesn't just fall apart, disintegrate in essence. They're actually able to pick themselves back up and play with one another with a little bit more speed, with a little bit more oomph, and actually be able to win out games, win out rounds, maybe push themselves to a few wins by the end of the season. Maybe not a season win, but walk away having learned something, being ready for the next season. So let's look at TBD. We've got Unstoppable. That's the player to watch up on top. KDR was with 1.8, KPR 1.25. That's actually pretty good statistics for a team that is going 1-3. Low survival rate, but we understand why that's going on. We can look at their attack and defense operators band. Nothing too out of the ordinary so far. And we see the most played map is Chalet, but we're not going to really take that too heavily into consideration, especially because this is 1-3. Well, technically 0-3 if we want to count that forfeit. And the fact that we do have an uneven amount of matches played, and all of the matches that TBD and Overtake has played have been on different maps. So there actually has not been 2 consecutive maps played. So we won't look at that. But team stats, it's also looking decent. Got TBD, Nyx, Rican, Cal, Unstoppable, and Rex. We don't have any stats for Rex because I believe Rex is a sub in for TBD. We do have a little bit for Cal, Unstoppable, Rican, and Nyx. As we saw, Unstoppable was the top player for TBD.
I can understand that, and the fact that, as you say, Nyx being an absolute nightmare for everyone on board is just going to have to come out one way or another. Something that I'm hoping to see a lot more from this team is, since they've been very similar in bans, I'm hoping we get to see some variety of operators. Especially for the fact that these guys seem to be a bit more defensive heavy. We're just going to have to wait and see when we go into this match. So, again, as I said before, and I did jump the gun last time, are you ready?
I am ready to see what map that we're going on. Let's take a look.
So,
oh, Chalet! Who would have guessed? Oh my god! Nobody said that we were going to go on Chalet beforehand.
no, didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. We were originally going to go to Clubhouse. They said, nah. He predicted it. We're going there. They chose to keep me right.
We're actually going to Chalet. No, we're going to Chalet. So, Chalet. Chalet's an interesting map because Chalet has been played over and over and over and over and over again by essentially every team in this league at this point, right? It is the map to scrim on. It is the map to play on. Now, for 2 teams that are going through such significant growing pains with their rosters, I'm very interested to see how they're going to stack up against one another, right? This is going to be a test of, okay, do these teams have down the foundations? Do these teams have down the basics of this map? Because if they don't, they're going to get stopped out at that immediately. Whichever team is on attack is obviously going to be the loser in this case. I mean, if we're going by normal map statistics, we're going to say that TBD would probably be the team to head into 2-4 by their split. But I'm also interested to see if they can flip around that expected outcome. Ace and 2Bro are going to be the 2 players off the board. Do you have any predictions for the next bans?
Knowing what we've seen from that most banned operator, it's gonna be Habana next, and then either Flores, Ram, probably Clash on defense. Well, it's gonna have to be Clash. These guys don't like to have any turnover just yet. Let's see. It's actually Kaid and Black, but they chose to change the meta.
I
understand, especially for this map.
Yeah, I expected Kaid, and because the Tubarao came up first, right? I feel like if you're not going to take Tubarao and Kaid off, you're going to go for Kaid first as a ban, 100% of the time. Because Tubarao isn't going to mean as much to you if you take Kaid off first, right? So I like that they went Tubarao, then Kaid, but the Blackbeard is also something expected. I feel like it's very within the meta, but that also means that you're leaving up the Mira, that means that you're leaving up the Azami, and you're going to leave up players like Capital that are really powerful in those plant situations, and you're also going to leave up the Clash, and you're also going to leave up the Blitz and the Monty, too. There's a lot of players in play that we could see that can bring very, very, very big, how do I put it, repercussions to these rounds. Consequences.
I hope you're right about that, because right now I think We're gonna have to see how these consequences come to life. One way or another, I'm not looking forward to see Recon on Hibana, especially if it's gonna be an upstairs push. I would have preferred to see a Ying or something to just try and get the people out of library, but I don't know. They must have some sort of plan I'm not ready for.
Bar and games.
The Twitch drone barely missing, but actually does get the mirror window open and takes out the camera. Just has to run for its life and it gets taken out. Last time, not the best time. Are you prepared for a striker try and push in the library?
I am excited for this part. I'm definitely excited for this part. I'm interested to see how TBD takes on that Azami sitting on that library side. If they're going to do a push from Ivy side, if they're going to have a player set up there, or if they're just going to take the opportunity to say, screw it, have two people hop into library and try to take that Azami alone.
You're right about that, but I think we might have our first couple engagements starting off. Frags ring out to destroy the Asami barricade. Asami's still trying to peek it and hopefully get the striker. But it's just a waste of utility for now. While the Warden is downstairs trying to go for Hibana, it's just going to have to wait to try and go for the pre-fire, but cannot land the shots. They know where each other are, but they can't land it. One way or another. Oh, we do have it. That is the Warden trying to go for the Hibana, but also getting... I believe that was the captain being taken off the board. Yep, and there's a banner as well. Early double kill for the Warden. Sorry, early double kill for the... Yeah, it is Warden, but he's using the Valkyrie skin. Beautiful to see. Twitch is ready for the rotate. He can't get the site safely anymore. But that was just the distraction they needed for 2-piece from Fear. Getting off. That's a Sami gone, and we get zonked out too. Warden still trying to get back to site from Fireplace Stairs, but he gets tagged in the engagement, has to run away. Becomes a 3v3.
Fear 5v3 to the 3v3 hero play. Absolutely huge to even out the odds from Overtake and TBD. But at this point, they're going to have to use their time very wisely, right? They've got control of library. They can easily play down and play for the execute, but they're going to have to place that utility in a meaningful way. We'll say that. We've already got players dropping in, though. That's going to be Fear with the triple. Already a 1v2. The remaining player on Overtake is going to be that Mute, but don't quite know that that Mute's going to sit up above. And library very well could get a power play going on here between Fear and Cal. Cal's definitely going to be planting in the next few moments here. As you see Anti going right up above on these hatches. But I think TBD is a little bit smart to the play from Anti. You can tell Fear's going to be watching the hatch and takes out the player to drop from. And that's the first round for TBD.
I've got to say, I love to see the shots ringing out, especially when they know what the plan is. They know he's not on site. They've face-checked everything. And they've realized, hey, we can just go for the plan. It came out for a perfect bait. Just now it's going to come out to be determined being one round up. I'm hoping they understand that they can't just walk this through and slow it down. Asami, Smoke, Castle, Bandit, and Mirror being brought. Two good operators specifically for slowing down Castle and Asami, but having Bandit just to keep operators out of their sight might be the best, especially with us going upstairs. Sorry, going to kitchen, not upstairs. That caught me off guard. That's... How well do you like kitchen as a site?
I like kitchen when defenses play it right. There is a very strict pacing you have to have when you play upstairs in that master side. Because you obviously want to keep it for as long as humanly possible, right? But when you know that you're getting surrounded by all sides, right? From the bathroom, from the master double, from piano side, from solar, then it's like, okay, am I going to be able to get away from this? Do I have to fight my way out? Or am I just going to have to take the L here? You know what I mean? You cannot find yourself in a situation where you're essentially a sitting pincushion, waiting to be hit. So it's very, very keen. That. Yeah. It's very, very, very subtle, I guess, with the way you gotta play it.
As designed.
Right about the subtle part, but I think this mirror wants to be a bit more aggressive than subtle. Tries to go for the quick peeks, tries to go for the quick links, but can't land anything. But actually, we have an engagement. We have. This is why I always make this rotate early, Castle. Come on, but Zonk gets clipped right in the back. Shot out early, but Nomad actually survives the C4 throw from below. But there's Mirror also getting taken out by the Deimos when she just couldn't stay alive any way they tried. But Deimos has 2 on pings. He's got Smoke and Bandit. Both being in sight, not as useful. They don't know what the operator upstairs, but he actually just jumps in, goes for 2. Gets an early pick. Smoke is pinged upstairs. Sammy's pinged upstairs, can't leave. Is now stuck, has to go for the jump down, has to go for a rotate, tries to go for player out of the staircase, but cannot land the shots. And we do get to see the Cali rush in, go for the kill, and that's all they wrote.
Whoever is IGLing this team right now on TBD is doing the right thing, right? Because TBD knew exactly where the players from Overtake were, and they said, we found our opening, and we're going to press it, and we're going to exploit it, and we're going to win our ones, and then once we win our ones, we're going to push it to a flawless. Okay, that's organization against this team, right? That's something that I honestly haven't seen in TBD before. Something that I appreciate from them for sure. And
well,
fear.
You know, they did it just for you.
6-0? 6-0? I think they are doing it for me. They love to see me call them out.
Yeah, they wanted the training. They knew that the last match they played for you, normally it wasn't what they were supposed to. So they thought, you know what? We can do better. Let's get a couple subs in here and run it properly. This isn't ranked anymore. And we are being shown that. I do like the site setup this time, and I like the operator changes. Ross is now being brought, so traps are going to be able to catch people out if they try to go for a rush.
Yeah, I do like the alternative setup with the Lamai in hand. That's definitely going to force TBD to dump a lot more utility than previously thought, but do you see this? Do you see the Amaru?
Come on, this isn't a tease, right? Yeah, it's not a tease, it's locked in.
Right now. This is what we're seeing!
A jump in, straight to the big window master, and now an early pick. And taking off Frost, someone who's most oftenly a counter to any rush strat. But it works out even better in their favor. Now they know somebody's master. That's a lot of pressure and a lot of the map just being taken over. Just gotta be a little bit more careful though. Because remember, anyone can rotate the staircase. There's no drones, there's no flank watch being prepared yet on the side of the attack. Oh, barely shooting out the Frostmat as she jumps in the window. But this Nomad is keeping herself alive. I'm hoping Fear can put the fear of the trap into them. But now it's a 4v5 with a minute left. Are you ready for this?
I like your little puns. I like your little puns.
I know what you're talking
funny
about.
Man. I like your little puns, funny man. You're
No,
punning.
if you like puns, you're gonna have to be prepared for this. Everything goes boom in the end, but does not get the shield. And now, this Womai is gonna be a proper holder. He's gonna have to make sure nobody can peek him, even making sure nobody can go through that rotate. Here's a bigger problem you might not have noticed, actually. Because of the fact we have 2 donuts on Overtake's team, their mental is a little bit chalked and not prepared to go for any fights. I'm hoping they eat one of them soon, but for now the Capito firebolts come out and they have to get pushed off. Stun grenades launched for days. Quick pre-fire does not get the Omai, but Kai actually does get an early pick with the Twitch, gets another one, and Capito goes for his own. That is upstairs control held. Only the last 2 people are in bar and games, but Mute does not care. He gets his first pick, but then immediately gets taken out by the Flores. Not something you want to do. Now it's gonna all come down to the Stokes 1v4, but Star is still on half health. One way or another, gonna have to be prepared. Don't like the situation he's put himself in, especially with all these drones coming around to check him. They have the time to waste. They can drone out the site. They don't have to peek anything. Does not have the balls for the 417.
Collected on. Yeah. Doesn't have the balls for a 1v4 clutch, huh? Close. Close. He says close. Very, very unfortunate. TBD. They're kind of showing their attack chops right now. And don't mind me while I handle my cat in the background. She's getting a little feisty at the moment. So I'll let you analyze this round.
I'll analyze it, no problem. Because they actually just moved Clash and Twitch. As you said, your cat is getting twitchy for now. There's no Sakura for the W for Overtake, but they've shown their potential. One way or another, we have Multi, Deimos, Striker being brought on the side of the attack, which can always switch, but Bandit, Valkyrie, Goyo, Warden, and Mira on the side of the fence. That isn't always an option. One way or another, you've got to go to Wine Cellar and you've got to bring your operators. The fact that Asami wasn't banned and she's still able to be brought for downstairs, you would rather see an Asami, Bandit, and Goyo, especially for this sort of site, but maybe they have some sort of plan. Early kills, early game. Again, we all know the rules of Siege. If they're not coming into your site, they don't have to worry about it. So, now, one way or another, they're going for an extended hold. This might be a likely chance that the hatch is going to be opened. And if no one's prepared to hold upstairs, it's a lot of reinforcements being wasted. I'm not sure if you can notice it yourself, but one way or another... Oh, you good? The cat's done
I'm
being
good
aggressive.
now. My cat has in fact been fed. She was a little bit feisty. Got the Goyo, the Bell, and the Mira on the board. This is actually a pretty common setup for basement side hold. I do like the Valkyrie, but the Bandit's interesting. I mean, obviously the Kaid is off the board, so you do have to take something for breach denial. But the Bandit's interesting because they can choose to either Bandit trick or they can kind of just settle and leave those Bandits there. Just period. Which is either way still going to waste time for TBD, but it depends on how much time do you want to waste and do you want to risk your life while you're at it.
You're right about that, especially with the fact Deimos is already in the building, but he's got no track, so he can't see if anyone else is up here with him. It's all going to come up to that droning. If they haven't got any drones set up, which it looks like they do, but at the moment, the drone economy hasn't been great. It's 2 minutes left, there's still 2 in people's pockets, and none of them are actively moving. Another one has just been taken out. That becomes 4 drones left standing. Valkyrie is now able to be pinged, but they don't have to waste it just yet. They're using that beautiful gun. Oh, the C4 ringing out, but does not get a pick. But we actually do get to see Gridlock being taken out by the Warden playing in kitchen. Not a lovely sight, but has to be done.
Death mark on the way.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Fear for the top players for TBD being taken out. That very well might be a little dark horse that Overtake needs to win their first round so far. Stokes is going to be down but not out so far by Nightmare. He just needs to collect on that kill. Looks like Goosey, though, is going to be bandit tricking. Saw that little flash of the bandit. Doesn't have any bandits in pocket, though, which means that bandits are being taken care of, and especially from the wine cellar side, you could tell we've gotten a wall open. But in the meantime, Stokes, in fact, has been killed. Now it's a 4v4 with about a minute left on the clock. TBD now has control of garage side, so that's their opening to site.
You're right about that, but with all the util that has to be burned, they're gonna have to push wine hard. They cannot waste any more time going back around. 30 seconds left, becoming a 4v4. Wall is about to be breached. But Mira is the only one with a C4 in hand, so she's the only one who can actually go for the plant now. Besides just rushing out, goes for the kill, gets the thermite, but does not get the diffuser. The diffuser will go down. Nightmare finally gonna answer this. Nyx will shut them down, but here we go. Deimos has 3 on track. But him and Capito, the last one standing, they have to fight this hatch, but also have to fight the person going from the plant. One way or another, they are not set up to fight this. Deimos is above. Oh, it gets the first pick, but now it's got up to the Capito, who gets fragged immediately, but traded out for zones. Diffuser goes down. It's also diffused. Unlucky, unplayed, but it has to happen. Overtake takes their first round. You were saying about them getting the 4-2, just may not be in the way they want.
Yeah. Wow. I am very surprised, genuinely, by the outcome of this match so far. It's been very chaotic, so either way, both of these teams, it is true. What I predicted, that these teams are going through pretty significant growing pains. Although I did not expect it to be in favor of TBD so significantly. Now, that last round, very unfortunate for them. I think they had it and then they didn't, right? I don't think the Capitao should have stuck that plant, even though they were going full sun with it, because you didn't have the other player in place to hold the Capitao's back. Also, when Capitao ran out into the trench, that's also when we saw, I guess, the wrong move happen by Capitao. Could have used utility there a little bit better, could have used those firebolts a little bit better. I do wish that the execute was handled not so chaotically. I think they could have had a real chance of winning that.
I do agree with you on that, but it's not about ifs, ands, or whats. It's about wasting your first utility early and hopefully not having people die so quickly. For now, I know they have to clear this upstairs. They've got the castle finally going, but they aren't prepared. They don't know who is where, but the drone wing's out. Bandit getting taken out from the hatch, but he does survive on 1 HP in a dream. Here's the problem for you. The fact that electricity has changed to now not damage, but make operators scream. Do you think that's going to be a bit of an off-put here? Because I don't even think the attackers are worried about trying to push from that side. They've set their goal. Their mind is set to push in through the bathroom windows and just go for it.
Honestly, I don't think it's that horrible of an idea if they're able to pinch in the most effective way, which, I mean, in a 2v4 situation, you can take that numbers advantage, right? All you have to do is trade, and you're still going to win at the end of the day, right? Ante and Stokes, they're going to have to isolate, play their ones correctly against TBD if they want to win this out. Which means there's going to have to be a lot of ring around the rosies against TBD. And the time is ticking for them. They already have control of upstairs. And the pressure is gaining. It's going to be 1v2 though. Trade's already coming out. Stokes is the last remaining player up on the board. This is very, very winnable for the Valkyrie, especially because the attack doesn't quite know where Stokes is sitting at the moment. Doesn't quite know where they're at with that West main. Stokes gonna grab one, that's Fear off the board. Kali is the last remaining player. Is gonna try to go for it, but no!
Oh.
Will in fact be shut down by the Kali. Heading right into West Main.
The semi-auto pistol working out in their favor. Painful to see. As you see, almost had the clutch. That smoke, beautiful one tap on the Deimos and the trade on the staircase. That's how you play your life in that case. But again, unlike, as he should have said, they should have went ring around the roads. He's making sure to pick off and not trade. But for now, Jaeger, Goyo, Legion, Valkyrie, and a Sami all bring bot. You do get to see that lovely Valkyrie skin being used. So I'm hoping, and I do mean this in the best way, we get to see a comeback from Overtake.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Would you be okay with going to 15 rounds here?
My honest to God opinion on a map like Chalet? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm gonna give it to you straight, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might combust spontaneously if I have to see 15 rounds of this high-level gameplay.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, I'm happy to hear you'll explode for the right reasons. Because for now, To Be Determined is ready to set up. This is their last attack round. If they get the next 3, you know for a fact, your answers have been saved. They can have this, and that's the map. But it's not done yet. One way or another, we do get to see a really good game, actually, in my opinion, starting off. We have Deimos being brought on the side of the attackers, but he doesn't have his usual synergy operators being brought with him, such as IQ or Dokebi. For now, it's Monty Rush straight in the stairs, tries to go for one of the 2 players in kitchen, Ooh, but Damos does get taken out behind him. It's now up to the aggressive multiplayer. But he's also getting tagged by his own brother. Just dancing on it, trying to go for it. He knows there's another player in kitchen. Has to give the call out just teammate, but he can't just peek in. They lost the player already like that. To be determined has set themselves up, hopefully for victory, using the Kali upstairs to play as much utility, but also using the multi to go up the stairs, just straight up the Solarium stairs, does not matter. Walks into Master, face checks as much as he can, and he might actually have his teammate come in and repel after him. Perfect. Kali does get her first pick, takes half of her health gone as well. Sammy, a huge operator to lose so early, especially with those charges left. No, Legion trying to go for the pick, but a friendly flashbang coming out from Sense to blind the Monty. But it does work out in the favor since Kali is able to get the kill on the Legion, taking him off the board. Site has been cleared, there's only one operator left. Sense sees him but shoots the Monty. But they're gonna have to be prepared for that trigger discipline, almost taking out their own teammate. Monty is low, but so is Kali. And there we go. Goose is taking down as well. C4 rings out. Has to get this perfectly if he tries to go for the C4 plant here. Nope. And it gets Monty. Does not have the HP to survive that. Becomes a 1v3. Diffuser is down. They know they have to go for the retake. They've lasted long enough where those Goyo fires will burn out in time for them to push up the staircase. I do like the Valkyrie plays. Tries to go for it. Tries to go for another one. Knows there's one to the left, but cannot go for the swing. But maybe she doesn't know. But it doesn't matter. Cal waiting, holding the long angle. Just be fine. Be prepared. Gotta love it when two operators perfectly cross. So you don't get a choice of whether left or right. Just get taken out. That's a 1-5 early. It's a huge growth by 2B determined. And as we're saying, it looks like they're showing us the trailer for their victory.
I believe so. Overtake, I mean, they're back against the wall at this point, right? It's 1-5. Only one round until we're gonna push into match point. On top of that, Overtake is now on their attacking side, which is, as we know, the unfavorable position to be on a map like Chalet. And Overtake, I mean, they haven't shown too much promise so far, even on their defense rounds. They've been largely isolated from one another. They haven't been a cohesive unit. We haven't seen too much team play or trades from them. It just seems like they're a little bit discombobulated at this point. So I'm a little bit skeptical of how they're going to perform on their attack. Moving into
Attackers have discovered the location of a
a
bomb.
side that does require all of those things tenfold instead of defense. I guess if that makes sense. But I mean, TBD, their confidence must be shining right now, right? I mean, you're able to win 5 rounds on your attack rounds, and now you're on your defense rounds. Your momentum's got to be going. I mean, Fear is going insane on the leaderboard so far. Same thing with Loki. I mean, TBD, they're on a roll so far.
10 seconds to insertion.
You're definitely right about that, but we get to see the attack finally switch for Overtake. They switch off and bring Osa, but instead of having Osa bring Thermite Slam, she's bringing BBW, which is Jackal's secondary if you don't know. So I'm a wee bit concerned, but I don't think I've got to be concerned for that reason. I've got to be concerned for Nightmare, preparing the Ela mine, being prepared for the run out. I do like to see that the Clash and the Asami are banned, meaning that no walking mirror, but it doesn't matter when Gridlock's already walking straight through sight. Did Chalet suddenly become an attacker favorite map? Is there something I've not learned?
I think both of these teams get overly ambitious on their defenses. And they don't quite hit that pacing curve that they're supposed to hit. From what I'm seeing so far from
think
from
they
TV.
might
I mean,
just
they still
like to
do have
play
3
map.
players up. They still do have 3 players up on the board, and this is their first defense round, so there's still as much to see from them. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Well, on 3v3.
Ella takes her first victim. That's gonna be ace off the board. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Especially with the diffuser. Losing the diffuser that early as well is not what you want, especially when it comes to 3v2 like this, though. They had their pick, lost it, but Overtake now has the diffuser again. They have to be prepared for this. Another L mine goes off. She goes for the pre-fire, but cannot get the kill. Has to wait one way or another. They understand that if they try to push any of these doors, they'll have a disadvantage. Ella still has Ella still has her Ella grenades left. One way or another, and I don't like that red dot. I'm sorry, I cannot like it. Hopefully Cal can answer with his own SMG-11, take off the heads of the two people watching piano, but Ella crosses into piano, goes to the pre-fire, does not get picked. Now they're in a worse position now more than ever. Ella still tagged, does not have the damage to go against the R4C, but it's gonna try anyway. Has the fire rate, goes to the pre-fire. Nas is now locked out of sight. Wow. Cal does go downstairs to try and potential sight. Please remember, it is kitchen. They were just trying to get upstairs control. 40 seconds left. It's 2v3, one way or another. Ella goes to the peak, but just lightly takes arm damage. That limb damage reduction is saving her out this moment. But for now, one way or another, they do not have the time to waste. Goes in, but that's diffuser now locked on the window. Tries to go for a second one. No, second person does actually make the jump in. It's close, but it does not matter. Cal gets the shot onto Ash, taking her out amazingly. Now it's just the last person becoming a 1v2 to be determined far closer to winning this round. They have to go for this L upstairs, but cannot go for the kill. It is waiting below the shotgun. If nothing is paid attention to, it's gonna not work out in the favor. Time to pad the KD, goes for the first kill, and time is out. To be determined, win the round, making it to match point.
Okay. I'll make this as kosher as I possibly can make it. TBD. They were multiple players down. In what seemed like a combination of pure luck and the
Defenders, protect your bombs.
complete mismanagement of time from Overtake, TBD was able to turn around the round in their favor
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
and win in an unfavorable position. Mind you, Overtake, all they had to do was isolate the individual players, take the trades, and win out the round. All they had to do was commit to a spot and make the execute happen. They decided to pivot, walk in to a window that they knew a defender was watching, and tried to chance it, to which they lost two players. They lost the player advantage that they had. Mind you, they did ones and ones. They isolated
Attackers are heading
themselves,
out to defuse a bomb.
and they allowed TBD to win the round in such an overwhelming fashion and made it look easy.
Swapping mags.
That is not something that you want to see from an attacking team.
You're right about that, with the Frost Knicks being ready here. Hopefully gonna go for this early pick onto one of these players. But actually, we might actually be able to see our first time just go for the jump and go for the plant. Because nobody's watching the hatch right now. There's only just one player inside, so one way or another, they actually might be able to drone this out and go for an early pick. It's just the Jaeger they have to worry about. Now survives, goes for the drop down, gets back to site safely. And now it's down to just waiting. The clock will run out slowly. Captel fireballs are being used. But I don't think... There we go. The droning is coming out, so it's only going to have to be worrying about this player who's on mezzanine. I do love having this new recruit, but it's one way or another. You gotta waste a lot of utility trying to push them out. Bandit charge comes out, does not get it. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's a Maverick. Bandit losing his life early to Sophia. Here, oh, time for the gadget. No, see somebody might be playing blue. Has to try and check it. Cannot land the shot. A 4v5 this early though is not a good position. You prepared for a Fender Ace maybe, or a Fender Clutch?
What are you doing, Fear? What are you doing? Did you know the Maverick was coming out? I don't think he did. I think he fully expected there to be an ace. 100%. Totally expected there to be an ace. 100% caught off guard. Speaking of caught off guard, got Naz and Anti off the board. That's your Capitao and your recruit player. You do still have Twitch, Zoe, and Mav on the board, so you do have hard breach ability for this attacking team, as well as a little bit of utility on the side of them. So they can make this execute happen, should they use their utility correctly, and place their players in the right positions to capitalize on the area that they've claimed so far. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Got Pokey, pick up Goosey. That's off the board. A 4v2 already. Zonk's going to find another engagement and lose that out. Cal is going to find a headshot on Zonk. And the same goes for the remaining attacker. Cal is going to pick up those last 2 kills and put us to a 7-1 victory for TBD against Overtake.
That was not the match I was expecting, but it is the match that we got. Something I wasn't expecting, just because you made it sound so surprising at the start, like it could never be done. But as you can see, we only had 1 donut left by the end of the match, so both teams were fighting their heart out. It's just unlucky to see.
It's definitely unlucky to see. I mean, it was a bloodbath from start to finish. It was chaos from start to finish. I think that Overtake has a lot to learn, and they have a lot to gain from this league. And I personally am excited for their growth. That is not to say that this is like a horrible, absolutely bad team. I do think that they just have a lot of growth that they can gain. And that's great on their end. TBD, what a great win. You guys really have picked it up since your last game that we have casted from you. Fear, what a great game for you. That first round was absolutely insane on the Nomad. You were a one-man wrecking crew. Cal as well. Cal and Pokey carrying the team. Crazy ratings, 1.68, 1.46. Stokes did really great as well. 1.38, a 10 and 7 KD with a 75% cost. That's pretty insane. Also an 80% headshot rating, almost the highest in the lobby if you're not counting Anti and Rican. Huge stats so far. Crazy spread of the stats, by the way.
You're right about that. Great costs coming out from most people. Couple the people need to train on aim trainer or just get better at the map. But again, it came out to, hey, you're doing your best, you're learning it, that's good enough. You will grow, and again, they're not completely out just yet. There's more matches to come. Everyone has to be prepared for this. Are you prepared for our next match?
I am prepared for a game that is not so skewed, hopefully. That is not a 1-7. I do have to hand it to Overtake, though. They did try their best. I do still think that they have a lot of growth to do, especially on their defenses, to stay organized and stay cohesive as a team. TBD, great job so far. Y'all really won that out. And I feel like even though these teams have both had considerable losses, I feel like neither of us could have predicted this sort of outcome, because you're never really going to know how each team performs against one another until you actually see it in play. You're never going to know that actual skill gap in action until we see it. So it was definitely interesting to see this played out, for sure. But 1-7, hats off to TBD. On to our next one.
So with that, we'll head to a break. We'll catch you guys in a bit.
Welcome back, everyone, to AEL Season 3 Retribution. My name is Jenna, and I'm here with Star. How you doing tonight so far, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's 1 a.m. here. I'm ready to go to bed, but I'm actually ready to play some more Siege. I normally step to about 3, so it's fine. For now, you ready to lead us into the maps, lead us into the players, lead us into the teams? Let's get us ready for this.
Excited. We've got Corvus Corpse versus Syntax. Syntax is ranked 3rd, Corvus is ranked 7th, but to give a little bit of context to those rankings, Corvus has only had 3 matches so far, whereas Syntax has actually had 4 matches. So both teams actually do have a technical same amount of won matches because Syntax has a match won by forfeit. So Corvus has won 2 actual matches, Syntax has won 2 actual matches, and each have lost 1 match apiece. But Syntax just has 1 lapped on Corvus because of that forfeit win. We're looking at their win percentages. They should technically be the same, but attack percentages, that's what we want to focus on here. We've got Corvus coming in with a 51% attack win percentage, whereas Syntax only has a 25% win percentage. That's going to be really interesting walking into this map. We'll see that in a few seconds, but we've also got our defense percentages. They're about the same. Play percentages are the same as well.
Ooh, you're right about that. So the fact that the plants are this close just kind of goes to show that Corvus Corps isn't done with anything. Whether they remember that the game is for plays, whether it's plants or for kills, they don't care. I do love their clubhouse statistics, so I'm kind of hoping we get to go there. But for now, we get to see their bans. Looking at the fact that Blackbeard, Monty, and Ram are their main bans for attackers, it seems like they don't want anything to stop them in their place. Having Kaid, Bandit, and Mirror bans also just kind of goes with, hey, this is our play style. We don't want you to stop us either. We want to go in headstrong, ram it through, if anything, and then just kind of played it out. As you can see, their play days are scheduled. They just beat Wild 7-4, which is a strong team we got to see last time on stream. So maybe we get to see something new out of them today. We get to see some interesting stats, statistics, tricks, plays, something I can steal from our ranked games. For now, let's go to the roster.
I like that. I like that. I like that point of view. Maybe I can steal something for my rank game. Let's look at the roster. We got Marvelli, Dox, Impulse, Blitz, and Soldier on the side of Corvus Corpse. I'm liking their stats so far. Their survival percentages are a little bit interesting. They're below 50, which I guess is to be expected for a team that does fight very hard for their wins. They won 7-4 on both of the matches that they did win, and they did lose 3-7 against 2XC. So nothing out of the ordinary for those survival rates. We've also got on top Marvelli with a 1.53. I believe that was the player to watch for the side of Corvus. Right below, though, is Dox. That's a 1.08 KDR. Coming in with 28 kills and 26 deaths. Interesting. Take a look at the other team. That's Syntax.
So now we have Syntax. I'm gonna ask you a question here. How little do you know about Syntax?
At this point, I know very little about Syntax. I don't even think I actually have casted Syntax at this point. I don't remember any of these players thus far that I'm looking at on their roster. We haven't even gotten into that, but this is a new team for me, essentially. What about you?
Well, for me, I know a little bit just from when I did SGC. For now, I can tell you that these guys are wanting to run away with this. They've learned their lesson, hopefully. The win rate might be high, but again, that only comes from their forfeit win. They aren't the kind of team to be like, hey, we want you to padded stats. No. As you can see with Obsession, having the first place with their team, 36 kills. That's an insane number, especially if you're trying to pad stats, especially if you're trying to do anything terrifying. And you gotta remember, that's just the substitute they always bring. for now, they beat Arcus, which is a fantastic team, known over in SGC, known across Tier 3 for NA. And I've got to say, I'm not looking forward to seeing how this comes out. Their bans normally being Ace, Blackbeard, and again, we do get to see Maverick. So maybe they're planning something bit greater. Maybe they're planning something for complete solid defense. Because as you can see, when it comes to their defense, they're banning a Sammy, they're banning Kaid, and they're banning Castle. They don't want anyone into their site, but they also make sure it's an easy walkthrough no matter what traps you guys bring. So, I'm gonna have to see what the teams look like now.
A little quick note on that. That also actually paints the narrative of what maps we've seen from Syntax considerably. We've actually seen 2 Clubhouse games from them, one against Apex and one against Temper. So I guess that gives a little bit of color to what bans they've chosen so far. Taking a look at their roster, we've got Yumzy, Flexo, West, Cadence, and Obsession on the board. Like we said, Obsession is that player to watch. 36 and 20 with a 1.24 KPR. Going nuclear on the board. I also would like to point out very quickly that the match that each of these teams have lost apiece, Corvus Corpse lost against 2XC 3-7 on Sky. Syntax lost against Temper 0-7 on Club. Okay, that is a pretty significant loss to not win a single round against a team. I mean, granted, it is Temper. It's an insane team, right? Very well-performing team. But to not win a single round on that map, knowing that that was the second time that you played that map. So, something to keep in the back of our minds as we play out this game, especially when this team gets on their attacking rounds. Let's move on forward to the bans.
Let's see what's first. Concert Layer taken off the board early. That means nothing too shocking. No test of limits, though, on Nighthaven. We're going to have to say goodbye to Border, so no Spawn Peak Central. No repeats, though, which is nice. No Chalet. Skyscraper being banned as well. So, that only leaves... Oh, wow, we're heading to Bank. Clubhouse and Cafe removed. I thought it was going to be a Cafe repeat, but no. Instead, we get to head to Bank. Anything you'd like to see on Bank? Anything you don't like to see?
That's a great question. I could talk on and on and on and on and on about Bank. For the attacking side, which, mind you, Syntax, they chose Bank. Which means Corvus naturally chooses defense. Syntax is going to be on their attack first. What I'm really interested to see from Syntax on their attack is significant direction, right? Bank is a large map. Bank has 3 floors. It has a huge lobby. There is a lot of options for the attackers to move in and make their execute, right? Make their entry, kind of get that mark on the round, have that great mid-round, and then end it off either planting the bomb or playing TD, right? I want to see from Syntax a very dominant, very pointed entry. They have that objective in mind. You can tell what their idea is, and they execute it well. Okay, I don't want to see this lack of organization from them. I don't want to see a discombobulated take like we saw from that first game on Chalet. I want to see something real. I want to see, like, actually well-organized takes from this attacking side. And from the defense, I want to see a team that doesn't get forced into corners. I want to see a team that essentially doesn't become a pincushion, especially on that CEO defense, where it's very easy to become a pincushion when you've got a lot of attackers coming from those windows, watching from afar. I mean, look at that lobby, right? You've got a lot of angles to view that CEO from. So I'm really hoping that Corvus can kind of fight back and stand their ground against Syntax. I also want to see some really great takes from them.
Well, now we're going to have to see some really great bans. Because since we are in Bank, the meta has to be get rid of the shields, get rid of any hard breachers such as Ace or Urbana, make sure that they have to come close. But Hatch is no thing to worry about now. Habana and Asami are taken off of the board. Hyde's probably next for the defender ban, I'm going to say. Who do you think for the attacker?
Ace. Without a doubt. Ace 100%. I'm not even going to put it up to chance. I'm going to say Ace. You want to take Ace off the board. You want to take any hard breacher off the board that has the ability to throw. Yep. Or go from afar with their gadget. Right? Because you don't want to have that elevator wall even chanced to be opened up.
Well, you're right about that, but we also lose Castle, which is not what I was expecting. I was always expecting Kide,
Yeah.
especially for downstairs CC. But the attackers
like
don't know
that.
that yet.
I like that Castle is
Attackers
off
need
the
to
board.
locate
That's
and
definitely
defuse as
going to
many bombs as
put
they can.
a lot of strain on that CEO defense when we see Corvus try to defend it from players repelling. From that lobby side, from the windows, right? It's going to make Syntax have a lot better of a time getting in, getting their angle on those defenders. I'm so interested to see how this gets played out.
Well, it looks like for now they're playing it out to either stall for time, go for kills. I do like to see these different scenarios coming out, especially for the fact that we're really being brought. Once that hatch gets open, remember, you cannot actually destroy the arena gate
Attackers
even
are heading out to
with
defuse
hard base
bombs.
charges. The one thing I am surprised we didn't get to see though is the Thermite Aurora teamwork here. Because if you take the upstairs open office, you can actually put an Aurora gate on that wall, and then even if it's Kaid charged, you can open it with Thermite. But the attackers aren't even going to worry about that. Instead, they brought Grim, Buck, IQ, Capitao, and Ash, meaning heavy gun and heavy post plant potential. Especially with Buck trying to clear the top floor. I am hoping they have droned everything they need to know. One way or another, you know they can't just rush blue. It's not an option.
Syntax is definitely going to have to rely on their droners, on those pre-placed drones, to save them as much time as humanly possible, because Corvus Corpse, I mean, their players are all essentially turtling at this point. So it's almost free game for Syntax to take map control. I mean, we've got that one player blitz sitting on that E1 side, but... or E2? I believe it's E2. There's E1, E2, and E3, right?
I do believe that's right, yeah. Because there's 3 elevators, you got 3 floors. It's not the problem right now. The problem is the fact that they know if they go to push this person on E1, if they push the Goyo, they're gonna end up getting shotgunned one way or another. They can't really risk it. At the moment, have to waste as much time as possible, but they might actually take off the head of smoke. That'd be a great pick to get, especially with that 30-second charge.
It is a very precarious situation to put yourself in, not only as an attacker, but also as a defender, knowing that you're going up against a player like Capitao that can easily fire you out, flush you out from that side. Looks like it's going to be a trade, though. See Blitz going off the board, but at the same time, Grim, that's not a player that you want off the board, especially for a post-plant situation, which is what we're going to have to see from Syntax. We got about a minute left on the board so far. It got some significant map control going on, but nothing so far on the basement side, which is a little bit concerning considering you've still got that player up on blue. You've still got the smoke sitting up with 2 canisters in hand. You also have the one player, the Kaid, sitting with the C4. So there is a lot of utility on the side of Corvus to shut down this attack from Syntax.
They know Smoke is still on the blue staircase, trying to go for the kill, but they can't just yet. But Mirror actually gets taken out by the Ash. I do believe that is the Ash actually trying to rush down and try and push as far as they can. At the moment, you have Yumzy dropping server wall, but he's not prepared to go for his teammate. Impulse actually getting the kill early. Now Capitao tries to push out, but almost takes his own teammate out, trying to go, but he does actually get the Capitao. Capitao gets the smoke, one more down, becomes a 2v2, he has to rush through the fire, goes for the plant, but no one is there to stop it. Kaid actually gets the kill as well and does stop the plant. This team is making me eat my own words.
Nice plan. Nice plan. What an
Always gotta love a little bit of banter.
What an incredible round from Corvus. I do have to point out that I don't think Syntax droned out that smoke that was sitting in blue. Did you see that little cheeky one pump from the smoke onto that buck? You could tell like the buck was just blind walking into
Attackers need to
blue. I don't
locate
know
and defuse as
what
many
the
bombs
point
as they
of
can.
that was, if Buck even knew that the smoke was there, or if they thought that maybe the smoke was flash, something like that. I mean, like, that was a very, very hasty walk. So
It was, but I had a
think-
feeling that the Buck kind of agreed that, hey, I can win this. I've got the skeleton key. He tried to ego play it, and as we know on Siege, if you ego play it, you're gonna lose it.
10 seconds left
I don't
before
even know if it
insertion.
was that. I just think that Syntax might have wasted a little bit
5
too much
seconds to
time clearing and trying to gain map control, especially against the player on E1, that they honestly were not able to commit fully to one side or the other. I think if they found the opening through that main stairs side, they could have pushed there, but they opted for server side, and they just did not put enough attention on it at the beginning of the round to be able to flush out that smoke. And when you do that, I mean, you screw yourself over because that smoke is just going to sit there unless you put those Capital bolts on. And we saw it, the Capital bolts weren't used by the end of the round. You gotta deal with that
Do you believe you
earlier.
burned
Gotta
one?
use your utility better.
You're definitely right about that. It is all coming out to utility usage. But for now, it seems like they have answered your question. But trying to stay safe while using his utility, while knowing there is 2 people upstairs. The call it has to have come out by now. Because if they don't push it, they're wasting a lot of time. Ash does not care though. She's already in lobby. She might just try to walk in through the back of base site, knowing that the front is clear because of the buck upstairs. Oh, I love it when somebody actually uses a suppressor to just take out a camera. Oh, and the calls ring out as well. First pick, Smoke being taken out by the gridlock. Oh, Legion getting taken out while trying to rotate back to site. Here's a drop, but the diffuser is actually gonna go down as well. The trade's coming out one by one, getting picks left and right. Mirror gets a shot as well, goes to the diffuser now. Blitz close, but stops the C4. Oh, and there it goes. Now it's just up to the Fenrir. He's got to push into site. He's got a 1v3. He cannot waste any more time. Goes to the pre-fire into the gridlock, but cannot land it.
I like the little cheeky rush. I think Syntax needed a change in their momentum. They needed to change up their pace a little bit, and I think that is a great way to kick off taking control of the pace of the rounds. Now it's going to force Corvus to have to adapt, to have to rethink, step back a little bit, and maybe say, okay, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to recontrol that pace? And it very well might force them to make some errors, right? Get a little bit overly ambitious and perhaps slip up. It could allow Syntax an easy way in on round 3. Now, that's just me predicting. That's just me,
Attackers need to locate and defuse
being
bombs.
optimistic for Syntax. But ultimately, I do like the way that they handled round 2.
I do agree with you, but the tech pause was called just slightly too late. We might end up having to go to a rehost, but yep, you'll be coming back to our lovely faces. It looks like rehost is going to be confirmed. So we can actually ask some very quick questions while it's loading up to us. I'm going to have to ask you first. First off, you got to see the rush strat. I'm going to correct you because I looked at the replay and I got to see it as well. First round, Buck did know that he was there. He did know Smoke was on that blue staircase. Tried to go for the play.
Oh.
Couldn't answer it because skeleton key isn't a real shotgun, no matter how much Buck thinks it is. It's like this big. Like the super shorty is slightly longer, but not that much more. So it didn't work out in their favor.
Wait. I have to wonder, all right? If we're getting hypothetical, did Buck try to flash the smoke before walking in? Was the smoke not flashed? Or did Buck not try to flash the smoke?
Buck tried one, wasted it. The other problem is also about the Capita Fire. He used one of them that got caught by the Aruni gate. So he didn't have all the utility we thought he did. That's just a bit unlucky for the play. The Buck was a bit too conservative with the smokes. He didn't realize how close Smoke was. He thought he was already halfway down the staircase. Buck could push and go for the kill. Didn't work out in his favor. And the fact that the Capito didn't go for the pinch as well, it came out to just being bad team comp. But round 2 is where they tried to fix that mistake. It worked out better more because of the fact that the Ashe didn't overextend into archives or didn't, try to take the road less traveled by going upstairs. The straight direct approach worked out better in their team's favor for that round. And with the Buck using the long range. So that's where, to correct you, Buck is playing smarter now, but he was playing a bit too hard in the last round. Hopefully for this third one, we get to see something weird. What do you want to see weird?
I want to see Corvus get a kill in the first 30 seconds.
Spawn
wanna see
peek
something
okay,
weird.
or... I'm trying
I
to
want to
think.
see
Are you
spawn
okay with
peek or
spawn peek or
spawn
rush?
peek adjacent.
I'm thinking
wanna
run out
see
or jump
spawn
out.
peek or spawn peek adjacent. Yeah, like perhaps a run out, right? I want to see something like flip the rounds pacing on its head. I think that's what's really going to spice up. Because now Syntax and Corvus Corps, they essentially get attack timeout with this rehost, right? It is in effect, right? They can look at, okay, what did we do right? What did we do wrong on our first 2 rounds? How are we going to fix that? So it's going to kind of reset the momentum between these 2 teams as we move back into round 3. So I'm interested to see how Corvus now responds to Syntax kind of throwing up the pace in the air a little bit. They're going to be heading on back over to first floor, though. That's interesting. They're going to retry it this time around. I think they're expecting Syntax to not rush, which is perhaps... And I don't know if that's the right
Defenders,
move.
protect your bombs from being
So we've
defused
got a
by
Blitz on the
attackers.
board still.
Well, Blitz could be used as a plant operator, but I think in this case it was, hey, pick an operator that you like. We'll 6-pick if we need to, but we can always rush. As you said, having the Ram being brought for the same idea as the Buck to clear the top floor. But, again, I'm worried that they don't know that it's not going to be archives and they don't know that it's not going to be basement. Because they won basement. They can switch at round 3. Has to win this to go down there again. So I have a feeling that maybe the Ram is just being brought to try and shut out anybody upstairs. Or maybe they try to go for an office push. Weirder access is they didn't 6-pick. So this is their plan, this is their strat. Might go downstairs, dirt rush, or just straight through parking. We have to wait and see.
My best guess is your first guess, which is top floor, for sure. I mean, you've got the Ram on the board. They also decided to 6-pick for the Gridlock. That's what they did, instead of the Nomad, which Gridlock is going to shut down those larger hallways more than what Nomad can do, which is kind of shut off those half-wall areas where defenders can walk up. Gridlock can actually shut down those long hallways, force the defenders to slow down a little bit, rethink their approach. So I think we will be seeing top floor. Exactly. Well predicted.
Well, it looks like you're right with the first engagement coming out and an Ella Joan being pushed. Legion actually getting down, but taking the head of Ram. Now Ella has to drop back to sight. I don't think they heard... No, they did hear the shots ring out, but Ashe actually taking the road more traveled now. Goes upstairs, get a beautiful first pick. And there's the second. Dex and Blitz being taken off the board very early. It's a 4v3. What do you want to see so early?
I mean, very unfortunate that Ram's off the board. That takes away a lot of vertical destruction that Syntax had on the board. So essentially, at this point, about like half to 3/4 of their destruction and their use for top floor has just been taken off the board entirely. Very, very unfortunate.
You're right about that, but it looks like they planned ahead with Ashe bringing the breach charges and Kebi having that DMR and getting a lovely pick as well, taking out Ella. Now it's a 2v4 with a minute left. Smoke still has canisters in pocket. 2 left. They do for 10 seconds each. They can't really slow this down. I'm kind of hoping, okay, that Fenrir could survive this, but no, Blitz is there. Does not get the rotate off. Now it's up to one-man army. Has to go for one pick, gets it, but has to go for the Blitz. That's not a flash position you want to be in, but he actually does down the Blitz with a shot, but he's not prepared because he's stunned and flashed. Shots ring out, and Gridlock gets the final pick. Not what you wanted to see, but happy to see nonetheless.
I think the most important op pick was for sure that Blitz. Blitz was able to gain and lock down really important parts of the map. Was able to open up the execute and essentially finish off the round for Syntax. Right? I feel like Corvus Corps, they had a very difficult time dealing with that Blitz. They essentially didn't know how to deal with the Blitz. And I mean, I kind of understand it when you're on a map like Bank, where if you're trying to defend the top floor as a roamer, Blitz is an exceptionally hard operator to play against, right? You have those really tiny rooms that you have to defend from, and Blitz
Defenders,
just
protect your bombs from being defeated by
eviscerates you
attackers.
from short distance in those rooms. So it is no surprise that Blitz is going to be taken off the board for this round 4. We'll also see Mira being taken off the board, a huge player thus far for this. We're also going to be seeing Goyo still left on the board, which has also been a huge area denial operator for Corvus as well. Also Smoke, too, for sure.
Definitely about that. And this kind of reminds me of the Syntax rhyme I keep hearing. Locked and loaded, taking every round, we're in beast mode, the one that gets copy pasted. I do love to see it, but I'm hoping Corvus can answer with their own, because both teams are menaces. This has been a back and forth every round. Syntax has taken this one, so maybe they have something else planned. Because as you can see, site's in basement, but they're planning for everything above and below.
Reinforcing the wall!
I have a question for you. It's a very simple one. So, when it comes to Siege, do you think you should be finished prepping before the 2-minute 30 mark, I guess, in this case?
No. No.
Yeah?
As a ranked star myself, no.
You're always preparing, even till the last 30 seconds. You're always prepping ranked.
Absolutely. You always must get, you're always getting prepared. You always get. No, I feel like 2:30 is the standard for most teams to be prepared, because it is so hard doing everything all at once. Speaking of everything all at once, Marvel gonna pick off the first player in the round. That's Flex going off the board, but quickly traded. Unfortunate for Fenrir to be going off so early into the round. And you have Itch going off as well. Blackbeard's going to be running in on Vault very early into the round. This looks like sideways rush strat from the side of Syntax, especially with that Ying and the Lion on the board. Obsession to pick up one, but Cadence to get traded out. In the end, that's Blitz to take him off the board. West as well on the Vault side. Ying to drop down next. Also having the diffuser in hand.
Gotta say, it's nice to see them running this out and trying to get the clock, using as much utility as possible. It doesn't matter when Obsession gets another pick. Soldier being taken off the board, becoming a 1v3. This Goyo has to try to go for the kill, but no ACOG on that. Gotta love the Vector with an ACOG, but without it, you're in trouble, especially with those tight lines of sight versus a 417. This meta right now with 417 gridlocks, stalling, Lions, pushing, didn't even have to worry about a breach charge, just opened everything, walked straight in. Benner did get a nice early pick, as you can see, but when the Legion almost came down and got the Ying, that could have changed the whole story.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? Fool me 3 times,
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
then you would be Corvus Corpse. 3 rounds. Syntax has been able to set the pace. Not only that, but get off a very cheeky rush. You had Lion, a Ying on the board. You had a Twitch, even though the Twitch was killed pretty quickly. Didn't have a Blitz that time because Blitz, in fact, was deleted
In position.
from player picks. And yet Syntax was still able to carry out the round in such a fast fashion. I think they're really starting to get their legs in this game, and Corvus has not been able to respond properly. I think Corvus keeps expecting this sort of methodical play from Syntax that truly is just not happening, and Syntax is also able to abuse the fact that Corvus is expecting this. So Corvus is just kind of going along, not adapting, thinking, okay, this team can't keep this up for another round, this team won't do this again, and they do it again, and they pull it off. Corvus, you've gotta get with the program. This team is a fast team, and that's exactly what you have to do on a map like Ice. It's a huge map. You have to have an objective in mind. What better way to do that than to have a rush?
Well, it seems like they've heard your prayers, listened, and figured out, you know what? Bring it Clash, slow it down, make sure that they cannot push. They can hear the heartbeat going out, but Goyo cannot get the pick on the buck. Does nick a little bit of his fleas off, but now it's up to him what he has to do. He has to retreat back to site, saving his life, wasting a box flash, which is good utility to waste, but the smoke still wanting the fight. Cannot land the shots, but now all gonna have to come out one way or another. Weird question for you. When it comes to the EMPs, do you use them for trying to get the direct hit on a renegade, or are you trying to make sure that it gets everything there?
I think everything there, right? I think that's the vibe, right?
Loading new mag.
That's what I thought, but apparently not with this team.
Well,
We might have an early engagement. You gotta have to be very careful with this, trying to get that long angle, hopefully being able to take out the kid and lockers. But for now, as you can see, it's not gonna work out in the fair. They have to be prepared. They only have a minute left, and they have to drop hatches. Nothing is set up to take on that clash. But they do have one EMP on the Dokkaebi, but it doesn't matter. Buck gets the nice little lie down, takes the long angle, takes out. But he gets a second one as well. I thought he was going to go down, but no. But Blitz answers with his own, taking out the Nomad. Blackbird stands up, gets his pick. But West being taken down on the occasion is not what you want. Having it a 2v4. Well, 2v3, and the EMP destroys the Clash Shield as well. But Dokkaebi just answers with 2, goes for that first pick, gets the pixel, then gets the head of another. I've got to ask you a question, and I am sorry I'm asking a lot of questions. It's Bank, it's Syntax, they're just rolling over them. This is not what we want. Every defender-sided map has been attacker-favored this time around. These teams are nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Syntax. I feel like every time Corvus tries to throw something new
Attackers need to locate
towards
and defuse
Syntax's
bombs.
way, they're able to pivot so gracefully. And with the least amount of collateral, they're still able to get the job done. Even if the time looks like it is ticking down, even if they haven't gotten much map control, even if they haven't gotten, great economy of their utility, right? Syntax is still able to find their opening, get the mechanical play rolling, find that momentum, get into the groove, and win out the round. And that's what you want to see from a team like this. There hasn't been a whole lot of plants going down, and yet Syntax is still winning. Right? They are superior in the mechanical play here so far. Corpus Corpse, I mean, they have to respond one way or another, right? This is what I want to see. I do want to see early kills in the round. That's what Corvus needs to get that early edge and stop the momentum from Syntax. Because once that team digs their heels in the map, it is hard to stop them.
You're right about that, but this is the first time we get to see them go upstairs for defense, and it's gonna be the last. Not something I want to see at 220, but they might be able to push in, maybe go through Janitor, just try and rush, but I'm not sure. I want you to give me a rundown of what you think.
what I think is gonna happen. I think Ying is going to sit on a window and she's going to throw in her candelas and she's going to run in and try to kill as many people as humanly possible. Which we already see is happening. Chaos! Chaos! This team is living in absolute chaos. Corvus cannot respond properly. Doc's gonna be first player off the board for Corvus thus far. It looks like Syntax is getting shut down, though. I'm eating my words already. I admit it. West is the last remaining player on the board for Syntax already. Dox is the only player off the board.
You're right about that, especially with the last minute. So I'm kind of hoping some jump outs, some dangerous plays, especially with the Clash, one of the few operators who can get away with it, to go outside of the map and actually get the pick. But now West has to pull up, tries to go the diffuser. At this point, it might be better to use it as an impromptu tactical timeout, but I don't think West's done yet. West wants to fight. West isn't going to give up. You know these teams better than I do. It's NA, so, you know, just going to wait, try to set up any drones they can. One way or another, gotta try and go for that long angle. Can't get the pick. Has to punish whatever the attackers can do. Somebody tries to peek, gotta get shut down. Somebody tries to push an angle, gotta get shut down. One way or another, she has to go for this person on the long desk. Tries it, gets one, could not get the second of that SMG-11, just having slightly faster fire it, and taking Nomad out.
I wish Corvus went CEO more. I truly do wish Corvus went CEO more. I feel like we could have seen a much more dominant defensive half from them. Because here's my theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like you have a lot of information too. I feel like you have a good analytical perspective that might shine some light. I think that Syntax is a team that likes to brute force. I think that they are a team that gains momentum off of map control. But what happens when you don't have any feasible map control on a horizontal plane, right? You're only able to play on windows. You're only able to play from afar. You have to use your utility from afar, right? The only time you can get in the map is when you are facing the defense directly up on that CEO floor, right? So my theory is that if Corvus had gone CEO more, we would have seen more dominant rounds from them because Syntax cannot brute force what they don't have. Catch my drift?
No, I get that, I agree. But I'm also just kind of confused with Corvus's attack lineup. So we get to see the Glass, we get to see the Monty. Okay, never mind. We don't get to see a Monty, we get to see a Fuse, which is an operator that I love, especially for attacking up here, upstairs. But we do get a Blackbeard. I was more... Oh, never mind. I just can't have anything right today. Because for now, it's only going to be up to the defenders to decide what they want to keep. In 3, 2, 1, we have... I think they finally made the decision. Ah, never mind. Ash got switched too. Anyway, for the defenders, you have Legion, Smoke, Castle, Echo, and Asami. That Echo drones are going to be completely nuts, especially at giving intel. And hopefully, you know, shutting down that post plant. They're looking for the drones, and they're going to use it to their advantage.
I love a good yokai. I love a good yokai. I feel like we seldom see Echo anymore up on the board. He is such a forgotten operator nowadays, now that you've got... I mean, we're essentially out of our intel meta, right? We seldom see Echo, we seldom see Maestro. Valkyrie is not picked as heavily, as often. Because, I mean, when you have such a utility-heavy meta, what is intel going to do for you that a gun can't, or a utility can't, right?
Well, the moment's going to be able to get rid of that shield at the top elevator and just have people walk straight up Monty, trying to go for the Echo that he knows is in Vault. They're already in the building at 211. It's not safe. Oh, Castle actually does down the Ash, going for the main entrance push at ATMs. Can't get the angle though, so Monty might be able to go for the barrel behind. Well, hopefully someone can go for the kill and try to stop the pick. He can. Answers with their own. Ash is still down, but Resible, it's not out yet. What do you think of this?
I'm liking the fact that Corvus is using against Syntax what they did not know how to accomplish in that previous round, that round 6. I really appreciate that deeply. Arvel gets res, and now it's still a 5v4. Passes off the board with the side of Syntax. Not the worst loss humanly possible. Dump is not the best gun you want to have in the remaining half of the round, admittedly. But you still got that Echo up on the board. That's a player that you want to keep up, especially when the plant is going down. With a minute remaining, it looks like Corvus is mounting up that plant. They've got the Monty going down this Trump side. Looks to be heading into office, trying to get as much intel as to where the players of Syntax are, but will be very heavily contested at this point. Sitting in that corner.
That's a nice dirty little angle, but Corvus does answer with their own, getting another pick, but also getting Monty downed. It's now just up to this Echo, who can stop the plant, but he has to go for the kills as well. He does not have the time just to wait and try and use both drones. But now, trying to go for the early plant, trying to stop the Blackbird, trying to stop anything from the repels. Monty is down, but he's not out yet. He can't be res because he's stuck in the office. It is really down to 2v1. Have to try to go for the plant or try to go to the fuse, but they just can't waste the time. They know there's a drone calling them out, waiting for them, but West does get another one, and now he has to stop the defuse. He knows the call-out's coming out for his teammates, but the diffuser is slightly too late. Now it's all going to come out to who can give intel. Maybe he can go for the stun and go for the push, but he has to wait. That's Monty officially out. Now it's a 1v1 Blackbeard versus Echo. Cannot go for it. Being stunned is not a fun game to play, but you don't have the time to waste. It has to go ring around the rosies as much around they can for this desk. You has to either get close and go for the push or shut him down. You can't forget that Blackwood does have that push, but it didn't work out in his favor, and he does have the time to defuse. That's a 4K for West and an 8 clutch. Beautiful play.
Wow. Blackbeard, what are we doing? Blackbeard, what are we doing? No, you could have jumped out the window and repelled. Oh, hindsight is 2020. We have to admit, hindsight is 2020. I feel like,
and I want to hear your 2 cents though. How did that work out against them this time?
hindsight.
No, I want your 2 cents. I want you to explain to me what happened, what they could have improved. You said that Blackbeard could have jumped in the window. I want to have a breakdown. Mental or physical, don't mind. Give me a rundown.
Okay, I think in that plant scenario, we should have seen the defender that hopped through the skylight, or the attacker that hopped through the skylight. We should have seen that person be either a little bit more passive, shouldn't have gone for that echo, or have hopped in at a different point and gotten to position before the Blackbeard played.
10 seconds to go.
You could tell that that was a very hasty move from that attacker, and that allowed the echo to isolate that one, and it wouldn't have been such an easy round for the echo. I also think that Blackbeard could have handled that 1v1 a little bit better. But again, when you do have that high pressure, when it is a 1v1, it is very hard to keep your composure. I definitely understand that. But I feel like the remaining players on Corvus should have most definitely kept their composure a little bit better, so that it did not have to be a Blackbeard 1v1.
Active and ready.
Alright, I can understand that. Those are all good, valid points. Not too harsh on the team. The teams can do better, but for now, that Fenrir is going to go out of off and give Ash's position. Gotta say, Fenrir is one of the more picked operators. What do you think?
For sure on this map of Bank. And I appreciate that. I feel like Fenrir hasn't gotten much use, though, from the side of Corvus. Because I feel like the positions that Fenrir has been in were very unfavorable towards the beginning of the round. So he wasn't able to use his utility towards the end of the round, which is where I feel it really shines.
Ooh, you're talking about utility, and then Fenrir answers with, I got this, and takes the head off of Ying, taking away a massive part of the attacker's utility. Really something they wanted for their post-plant situation. Becoming a 4v4 with a minute and a half left, they understand that they don't have diffuser, they don't have anything else either. Two big operators have been taken off on both sides, but then Fenrir finally gets shot in the back, taken off the board, but he does get Grim as well. So, Fuse finally getting meleeed, taken out by the Legion, becoming a 2v2 again. The man count is just being taken back and forth, equally traded. They do know there's one operator flanking from behind. Whether this call-up comes out in time or not, it's gonna be up to this castle to defend the site while his teammate is returning. And Ash is just sprinting down square, goes for it. Ooh, almost gets castle, but cannot go for it. He can hear the plant going down, tries to stop it by distracting the Ash, and he does. Ash does peek him, though. Sadly, he was not prepared for it. Now it's up to the Legion, while Glaz is holding the long angle, but Legion gets the wall bang, through the smoke bang, and now it's up to a 1v1. Again, that super shorty in hand, he does have the range, but he does not have the HP. Ash should win for the R4C, but it's 30 seconds, they have to push or distract. One way or another, they know where each other are, they can't waste any time whatsoever. There's no... Actually, Ash does have a drone in pocket, so it's all going to come down to what is the correct play. What's the smart move here?
I think the smart move is for Ash to stop playing Ring Around the Rosie and get that plant going, which forces the Legion to play up. Looks like the Ash's gonna go for the TD though, but Legion is running away! She's not gonna get the kill, she gets caught on the railing! Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This Corvus team just does not have the composure to keep up in these clutch situations.
I have a feeling that they are tired. You're gonna come back to our faces while they do the tactical timeout, because I've got to run something down by you quickly. Oh,
yeah, I want to see your takes. I mean, I feel like you've been asking for my takes. I want to see how you feel.
I was biting my fist to the point where I'm in pain. First off, this is Siege X. Red pipes. It's also the fire extinguishers. Two great pieces of utility, which are not being used now. And that's a big problem. First off, red pipe between Legion and Twitch during the last 5 seconds. She could have sought it, went for the plant. Legion has to make a different rotate to push. She had a drone in the pocket. That's usually not being used. It's an Ash. You've got the R4C. You can deal the damage, but you're the attacker. He's the defender. He will run away. And as you've seen, she tried her best, got caught on the banister, got her foot stuck. It didn't work out in their favor. Honestly, the Ash and the Glass could have went for a really smart play after they got that first pick. Didn't work in their favor. Fine. But now, we'll head back into the match and I'm going to cry.
I just feel like the chemistry between the players of Corvus Corpse is just not there. I feel like you called it out
locate and defuse as many bombs
towards the beginning with Syntax, I believe. That first round, that buck. But I feel like it's much more apparent with Corvus on their attacking rounds that they just don't quite have it together as a team. And it's really deeply affecting them when they get into these clutch situations where they do have the man count and they should objectively win, but they just cannot connect well. It's not cohesive enough for us to see them push through that sort of attacking fatigue to be able to get the round win.
I'm not sure how I feel about them being on match point. Yes, they used their tactical timeout, but probably should have used it a bit earlier. Maybe to consolidate their ideas, bring different operators. At the moment, we're seeing the same fire being brought in. The Syntax, that's the right move. It's been working out for them. But for Corvus Corpse, Ash might not be the right play. What do you think of Ash yourself?
I think that given the right site, she can be used well, but there are many other operators that can take her place in a much better fashion, and I think for a lot of players, she becomes a crutch. I mean,
do you believe you're right about that? We do get to see the utility finally being used.
Till the dawn of times. The dawn of times of this game, Ash has been considered a crutch op. And more than ever, I agree with that assumption at this point in our meta. That's my 2 cents.
I agree with that, and I will take that and return a nickel. But now, it's gonna have to come out whether or not they can waste enough utility to push site and push this archives, which it looks like they're gonna try and do with the double shield strat. It can work out for them well, but Ram is on 2 HP energy, but gets taken out by the Fenrir who snuck up. Castle and Fenrir. Oh, sorry. Fenrir's downstairs. Blackbeard's in a different engagement, though. Not sure how he's getting damaged. But now, oh, Ash is there to back up the Monty. Takes out the Fenrir. They know there's a castle close. I hope. Yep. Monty is just a walking drone. Tries to go for it. Little stun effect does work, but Castle has to rush the back to side. Is protected, but gets taken out. Monty finally getting ahead of him. Endokebi gets a long angle as well, but coming at 2v4 with a minute left, not something you want to see. They're trying their best. Sammy still has her 2 barricades left. These keeper barriers are working in their favor, but Mute's not in sight. Mute had to go for the drop, and is still not able to take out this Monty. Tries his best, shotgun in hand. It's just a turtle, it's just turning back and forth, trying their best. It's not going to work. Monty and Mute stuck in a blue staircase. We're going to have to wait and see who comes out of that later. For now, Monty does get the kill, sadly. But he does not walk away unscathed. It's now up to Sasami. He knows the Monty has to go for the drop, but cannot do it. And Blackbeard runs inside. Corpus answers with their own undefeatable strat. Just shut out the attackers. Don't worry about it. Bring shields. Painful, but beautiful.
Can we talk about really quickly the fact that the Ash's utility has been used to its absolute fullest because Ram has been dying so quickly off rip, consistently? I don't think we have seen a single Ram drone. I personally haven't heard the sound cue of it quite yet.
We've heard it start. It's always being taken out either by a Legion or an Impact. But we now lose Castle and Blackbeard, so we might get to see more Rams instead of being used for opening Castle barricades. Maybe now being used, to open up the floor. But as you said, Impulse loves a little crutch, brings the Ash. Soldier now bringing the Fuse. Maybe something better being brought, especially for Executive Lounge, where you don't have your Roar to maybe safely put the barricades up, and you don't have the castles which could have protected you as well. They're sneaking it and wondering what the plan is.
Yeah, I definitely expected the Fuse 6 onto the Monty, for sure. I feel like Fuse is only useful, perhaps, if you're going bottom floor and you want to cause, like, insane
Slander.
chaos. I mean, or even open. Even open, you can cause some chaos. Right? But
Slander.
I feel like Fuse is a necessary pick nowadays. I feel like Fuse is used for the shield. Start and stop at shield.
Everybody in
Maybe
chat, please
that's a
agree
hot
with me.
take.
That is slander. That is a hot take.
Maybe
that
that's a hot take.
That puts you in the tangled scene. If I don't see this Fuse rappelling up the side of the window and getting a kill later, I'm going to be upset. For now, they take out the cameras and have to make their way up. No, Fuse is what I'd bring, especially for this top floor attack. If I can get the secret on the windows to clear as much utility as possible, such as Kiba's. But we actually get to see Brava. What do you think of Brava? Because I love Brava to bits now, especially having
I
kept
do.
his gun.
I do. I love Brava. I love Brava and Twitch combo. I love when those two are used together. I mean, it is the, like, put the utility on its knees combo for the defense, for sure. And I mean, look at this. Brava's getting the full use out of her drones. And that opens up that Trump area completely for Corvus in a utility sense. Now they can get that area controlled now that all of the utility has been converted to theirs.
I can understand that. But that does bring something else out. As you can hear the tap firing out, windows being opened. Do you think they've droned enough to know that the Legion has changed places? No, never mind.
No.
The answer to that question is no, they have not.
Absolutely not. What an unfortunate misdrone on the side of Corvus. I could have seen that round going well in their favor. Because now that you have the Monty shut down, I mean, who's going to hop up on Banana and be the one to gain that intel, be the one to gain that map control for your team. Now it has to be the players with the guns, but with other players looking at them with guns. That obsession, pick off Marvel from the E1 side. That's your dope going down. Doesn't look great for Corvus so far. Dox is going to retaliate, being able to pick up Flex. But you still have 4 players up on the board for Syntax. And with about a minute left on the clock.
Ooh, and somehow Asami actually gets out of that corner. I'd be prepared on the skyline. Try and hopefully get her. But a 4v3 with 40 seconds left. Not a position you want to be in, but Asami is taken off the board due to Capital Fire. Much better stay at 3v3, 30 seconds left. That sick defender might come in clutch here to win this round. They know someone is close to the mirror, but cannot get the pick. Instead, SMG11 works out in their favor. Oh, Mirror almost doing a massive misstep, which could have cost them the round. But for now, they have to be prepared for this. They know there's an Ash, and they know there's a Capital. They have the diffuser. Ooh, yep. Obsession's still hard watching out diffuser, making sure that nothing can work out in favor. Gotta push up, goes to the front shot, does get one, cannot get the second, does not have the time. Legion just has to stay alive. That Con 6 shot rings out, but does not clutch them around.
Oh, if only the Gon could have shot through the mirror and killed the Legion, and we would have seen a clutch round from Corvus Corpse. Ultimately, Syntax, they were the more organized team. They knew what they were doing when they went bank. They had the balls to start on attack because they knew they were going to start on attack. They knew that Corvus was going to pick defense going on bank, and they knew that they were strong on their attack rounds on bank. They had confidence in their attack rounds, and that's what you like to see from a team. I highly appreciate their attack rounds. I love their executes, even though there were a few fumbles here and there, even though there were a few rounds where we saw some missteps and some messiness. Ultimately, I think they were able to set the pace. They were able to take control of the rounds very effectively, and Corvus did not have the correct response, right? They weren't able to slow down time. They weren't able to dismantle these hasty rushes from Syntax. And they just weren't cohesive. They weren't a unit, right? That chemistry that you see from a team, that clutch factor and that ability to shut down aggression as a defender, as a defense unit, it just was not there for Corvus. Which is so unfortunate on a map like Bank, where it is very easy to isolate and shut down the attackers. So I feel like Corvus, they do have a lot of work to do, especially on the map of Bank. But it was still ultimately a good game from them. They tried their hardest. It was definitely a closer game than our first match, I'll say that.
I'll agree with you on that. But you do have to remember, because of the rehost, the stats page isn't exactly right this time. We're missing the stats for the first 3 rounds. So, for now, this is what you're going to have to see. Some beautiful headshot percentages, some beautiful KDs, but this doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't tell the full picture. So, you'll come back to our lovely faces in a moment. And, you know what? I'm going to have to ask you. Are you prepared for your next match? Are you ready for it?
I mean, is Syntax ready for it? They've got a doubleheader. That's the bigger question. I mean, Syntax, they got their little warm-up in, right? They won 3-7 on their map, on Bank. Are they ready for Orglis? Are they ready to face this next team? I mean, Corvus, they put up a good fight, but it's all about the stamina, right? It's all about, can you keep going? Can you keep moving? Can you get into the mindset and the headspace of a new map, a new match entirely? Mind you, they're still BO1s, so stamina doesn't have to be fully put into question, but you're also playing against a new team, so it's an entirely new challenge that you're going to have to take on. So either way, the mental strain, it's going to be there for this team, and they've already played 10 rounds fully. So I'm interested to see how they're going to continue the streak, if they're going to be able to keep up that good momentum, keep up that good energy. What do you think?
Well, from what we've seen in that first match, they were prepared. They've done the research, they've done the strats, so I think they're ready for this. Orgless, they might not have everything, but at least they're going to know. This match wasn't easy. This match wasn't a wash, but it still went to them quite handedly, so be prepared for a fight. Regardless of how tired you think they are, they have a lot more left in the tank. And for that, let's go on a quick break. See you all in a bit.
Yeah, that was that. back, everybody, to AEL Season 3 Retribution. My name is Jenna, and I'm here with Noah. We got a new caster on the hot seat tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to get into AEL, ready to see what banger of a matchup we got in store tonight.
Hell yeah, absolutely. We've got Orglis versus Syntax. This is a double header for Syntax tonight. They first played against... Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. They first played against Corvus Corpse. I would not have remembered that if I did not look at that. Corvus Corpse is such a hard name for me to say. They first played against Corvus Corpse on Bank. It was an absolute tear, a 3-7 match for them. They were amazing on their attack, which we will get to that attack in just a moment. But now they're going to be going up against Orglis Goobers. I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out. Both of these teams do have some losses under their belts. However, Orglis Goobers does have 2 losses, one against WBZ and one against US Army, whereas Syntax has 1 loss against Temper, but that loss is considerable. It was an 0-7, whereas Orglis, they kind of fought. Both for 7 losses for them, and they're sitting at the 2nd rank overall in their division with that 3-1 and that 3-2, but what's not updated thus far is that Syntax is now 4-1. So their win percentage is higher, likely their attack, their defense percentage will be higher, and plant percentage will actually probably be lower for Syntax.
Yeah, I think one thing I definitely noticed about Orglis Goobers, obviously they are in 2nd place, but I did notice they had 2 forfeit wins under their belt. Only 1 win that they actually played out. So that 2nd place rank, a little bit of a star next to it, wondering if they are going to live up to that 2nd rank hype against Syntax, who is, like you said, 4-1. Going to be really interesting to see how these 2 teams go at it.
And mind you, the game that Orglis actually did win was against Reikai, and Reikai is sitting at 9th on the leaderboard for the Ranger division. They do have 1 win and they have 3 losses, of course one of those being against Orglis, so keep that in mind, right? But for Syntax, got Obsession, once again, who did have a very good performance this last map on Bank up against Corvus. We see that their most played map is Clubhouse, but I don't think that is quite reflective of the stats that they have anymore. Same thing with the team bans. Their longest win streak is now 3. They've definitely played more rounds than is displayed at this point. They've actually played 46 rounds, 10 more rounds. The team KDR probably went up a little bit more. Same thing with Obsession stats. Let's take a look at their roster. We've got Yumzy, Hex, West, Hayden, and Obsession up on the board. I'm interested to see what West is going to pull out this time around. We saw a few plays from West that first time around on Bank. Same thing for Caden. I'm interested to see what the rest of this team could pull off too. Let's take a look at Orglis.
Yeah, Orglis here highlighted mainly by Frito's 27 kills, 23 deaths, about a 1.2 KDR. And Orglis Goobers with a longest win streak of 2, only having lost 1 in a row. Obviously, that big asterisk next to it with the 2 forfeit wins. And their most played map is actually Nighthaven, which they're 0-1 on and only have a 33% defensive win rate on, which if you know a lot about Nighthaven, that's pretty alarming. It tends to be a pretty defender-sided map. So going to have to hope that wherever we go today, Orglis Goobers are able to pull out a little better on the defensive half this time around, and to have a team KDR sitting at about 0.9, but obviously they've only had 3 actual play days. So this is a little bit of a small sample size as we check in to their active roster. We have got Immune, we've got Fritos, we've got Sneaky, Zen, and Artix. Obviously, Fritos was just highlighted on the previous page, but really the other player I think we have to be looking out for is Zen at 29 and 26. Kills per round at 0.88, just about 0.9. And one of the players that is going to have a huge impact here to get Orglis Goobers another win on the board. And even though those 2 2 of the wins that they had were forfeits, still in a really good position to propel themselves forward towards playoffs, secure one of those top couple of seeds, and going to have to see how they play today against a team as formidable as Syntax.
And mind you, another thing that we do have to point out once again is the factor of stamina, right? This is Syntex's second match. This is their second BO1, which, mind you, it only is a BO1, but at the same time, they're playing up against a new team, right? So they're going to have a whole new set of challenges to overcome. And also, we have to point out, this is no longer Syntex's map pick, right? This is actually going to be Orglis's map pick, down to the bans and how the bans played out. So that's also going to factor into how we see this game being played as well. Let's take a look at those map ends, right? You've got Chalet, Sky, Layer, and Consulate off the board. Some maps that you would definitely expect to be. Border and Night Haven's also taken their spot off the board. Bank and Clubhouse do the remaining bans. It's going to leave Cafe up on the board. And one more important thing to point out is that Syntax actually chose Attack as their preferred side to start on, which is no surprise. If you watch the previous match on Bank against Corvus, they were very dominant on their attack. They were a very organized, very aggressive team on their attacks. And I do have to say, Cafe and Bank, they do have similar map structure in the sense that both of these maps are large, right? There are a lot of options for the attackers to pick, and therefore it comes down to a lot of creativity, right? There's a lot of different options, there's a lot of different objectives that the attackers can take advantage of, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we saw a very, very formidable Syntax team, right? They had an objective in mind. They had that pointed entry, and the execute to follow was near flawless on most of their attacking rounds. Love to see the cheeky plays. Love to see the really aggressive rushes from them. I'm interested to see how that's going to translate on a map like Cafe, where it's not as easy to find those openings like you can on Bank. But ultimately, there is still going to be a lot of window play. There is still going to be quite a lot of map control to be gained from the attack. So that's definitely something that Syntax can look forward to.
Yeah, similar to what you were saying, Cafe definitely a map that really relies on the repel game and being able to just shut down so many of those crosses that a lot of the defense likes to go. A map that is almost always taken completely vertically, and you always have to be super cautious of the repel game, and also a really ratty map. It's a bit Cafe is effectively a giant box with a lot of windows. You're going to have to be on the lookout for a lot of lurks, a lot of repel play, and a lot of congestion early into the map. I know that Syntax loves to enter very dispersed throughout the map, so those rat plays are going to come in, I think, really big for Syntax and especially for Obsession.
Yeah, I do also want to point out too that Syntax's drone economy is usually pretty on point for the pre-places. So I think it is going to be interesting to see how they point out where Orglis's players will be and how they deal with that. Because you didn't see too much contention on the side of Corvus when it came to their roam game. I feel like they were primarily playing on a turtle strat. I'm interested to see how Syntax is going to deal with the different challenges they'll have to face as a result of being on Cafe, as a result of those ratty spots.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you kind of hit it on the mark with talking about how important drone economy is. When you play some of those second and third floor bomb sites on Cafe, the majority of the map runs, and the majority of the drones runs through 2 staircases. So being able to bring in a Mute, a Mozzie, some of these intel denial ops is a really good solution to shutting down teams with really good drone economies. You're going to have to see if Orglis Goobers want to play into that on their defensive half. And we do see a double shield ban with the Blackbeard and the Blitz coming out, as well as the Azami and the Castle, which on a map like Cafe, I'm actually a little surprised that Monty wasn't the shield banned out, because I feel like Monty is arguably the easiest shield to play on Cafe when map control can be so hard to take.
I think I'll fill that in for you, actually, to give you some context. From our previous map, Bank, we saw that Syntax was able to use Blitz. I think that's a target thing. Syntax was able to use Blitz in a way that, I mean, to the fullest extent, right? Like, able to take map control, able to intimidate the defenders, fully
Attackers have located a bomb.
atomize just anybody that was standing in that shield's way. So,
Yeah, nothing.
I mean,
Go ahead.
crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, nothing worse than having to deal with a really good Blitz or a Blackbeard player. Especially what it seems like is a team like Syntax, just so good at taking ground, forcing players into uncomfortable positions. And Arctics really early is going to be looking for a spawn peek here. Going to get pre-fired out very quickly. They're going to have to immediately fall off of this spawn peak, as we are up to the 3rd floor, and with the bans of the Azami and the castle coming out, with a run out from Fritos missing just about every shot. Hex down to about 50 HP. Missed opportunity for sure for the Valkyrie. But with those bans of the Azami and the castle coming out, it opens up operators like Mira, which are so good at holding so much of this 3rd floor, especially in like Cigar Lounge, which is where a lot of teams like to run a lot of their attacks through. Gonna have to see the adaptation from Syntax, and I would have to imagine it's some sort of a rush with Obsession on the Lion shotgun. And we're gonna see a very quick interaction as Fritos takes down Obsession, not missing the shots this time around. Down goes the shotgun player, still with the Amaru on the board, and it seems like a little over-aggression from Obsession this early on, and it seems like nobody from Syntax was in position to capitalize off this.
Absolutely, I cannot agree with you more. I feel like Syntax has gotten used to being able to be ambitious without having consequences to that ambition. We saw this a lot when they played against Corvus, but now they're going to have to slow down the pace a little bit, get a little bit more methodical against a team that is aggressive and has the mechanical ability to back it up. But already we're going to see a huge rush strat from Syntax, right? The Amaru's going to be swinging right on in, but everything gets completely flushed out. See the kill from Arctics? Only player to go down in collateral is Fritos, and now Arctics himself, with the only remaining player left on the board being Aurora Yumzy. That's Orglis's capitalizing off of that rush.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like Orglis Scoobers were 100% ready for this, possibly having watched that Bank matchup. As they just were ready for all of the rat plays, all the individualism it seems like Syntax likes to bring in. Just playing so secluded, so by themselves, as Yumzy is going to take down the Mew. 1 versus 2 now. Very winnable position for the Raora at almost completely full HP. Zen on the Wamai down to about 50. And these Raora shields can be used to cut off some of these doorways. Wamai being really, really over-aggressive, constantly swinging out. If Yumzy is able to just isolate one more gunfight, which he does, but it doesn't matter because Sneaky with the final kill. Little over-aggression, it seems like, from both sides, but obviously Orglis Scoobers coming out on top, just completely anticipating all the individualism and all the aggression from Syntax.
This is one of those other unspoken pieces of having not only a double header, but also having just VODs in general to go off of when you're playing against a team, is that now you understand how they play before even touching them, right? Whereas Syntax, they didn't get that opportunity to understand how Orglis plays
Protect your bombs from being
on
defused
the
by
night,
attackers.
at the very least, right? So now this team has to not only get used to an entirely new team, but get used to an entirely new team that also knows how they
Attackers
play
have discovered the
and can
location of a bomb.
anticipate each and every one of their moves. I mean, completely shut down, completely red. What else can you expect from a team that was able to watch that first Bank match?
Yeah, definitely one of the disadvantages of playing back-to-back, like you said. the last thing you want is to have a game plan coming in and the entire enemy team reads you like a book. Gonna have to be some sort of a pace change from Syntax, and Orgless Goobers just continuing on this aggression, and I think this is really, really smart. Syntax is used to being able to just get into the map really, really quickly, and they're just spawn peeking on a repeat, which is exactly how you shut down a team who is used to entering the building at such a fast rate. Make them worried, waste their time in spawn, and it seems like already Syntax slowing down just a little bit, taking them 20 seconds or so to get out of spawn on Parkside, which just off the little bit I did see off bank seemed to not be at all what we saw from Syntax the first map around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get a team that has that unchecked confidence, that has that unchecked ambition, it can go wild. It can go crazy, right? Alright, see, first kill off on the board. Oh, that's Syntax. Finally get that first pick, that entry pick. Frito's gonna be off the board. That's your captain player. That's one of your roamers. Orgless, they just were not able to play fast enough for the players running in from Syntax.
Yeah, little over aggression from Fritos. Obviously, if you want anybody to die, it is the Capcan on the roam. One of the players who does already have all their utility down on the ground. So if you're losing anybody, you're happy it's the Capcan. But just absolutely no support on a solo roam third floor, getting pinched out from the rappel and the double entry from Cocktail as well as Cigar. Just a free kill for Syntax, and they have done a much better job this round, taking it slower, just going completely top down, putting in as much vert as possible, and trying to make the players of Orgless Goobers as uncomfortable as possible. And one thing to highlight, it doesn't look like we really have any sort of hard breach on the map, except for the one hard canister left from West. Gonna have to use it wisely. We're just gonna have to pick off a lot of these gunfights if they want to get through this really heavy first floor defense here from Orgless Goobers.
The good news, though, is that Syntax does still have quite a few options for the ways that they want to attack this, right? They've got Brown Stairs, they've got Bakery side, they've even got the White Stairs side of it all, right? So there are quite a few ways that Syntax can go about this. It's just, how are you going to pivot with only 35 seconds left on the board, right? You have to play together as a team. That's what we're going to see here, though. Got some engagements coming up on the board. Definitely swinging for the way of Orgless Goobers. Not so much anymore, though. West is going to capitalize, kill Zen, take that player off of the board. Huge player for the side of Orgless thus far. We also have another player going off, and that's already a 1v1. It's going to be the Gridlock with the diffuser in hand up against the Mute. Only about 10 seconds left on the board. It's going to have to either find that player or get that bomb down. And they will, in fact, find the Mute. What? Was that a shotgun shell? Was that a shotgun shell?
I don't know what that was, other than confusing. Of all the borderline
let's get a
unlosable
replay.
Situations.
Hold on. Let's get a replay. There's no way. No, that was 100% a shotgun. You saw he had the shotgun pulled out. That was a missed shotgun pump. Only a few of the pellets hit.
I don't get it.
Bombs as they can.
The solution to missing a shotgun shot is whipping out a nitro. I just don't get it.
Shotgun shot is to die. That's the only way.
Attackers have discovered
The
the
Gridlock
You
still
die
had
of
their back
embarrassment.
turned. I'm with you. But the Gridlock hadn't even turned around yet. All Mute had to do was shoot one more shotgun shot in the back, and that's free. Instead, pulling out the nitro cell in front of the Gridlock is an interesting decision, to say the least. That is, of all the unlosable situations, I would say that is one of the worst ones to lose, and I would definitely be retiring. But then Arctix comes back out, picks their teammate right back up, takes out Yumzy. Down is your Dokkaebi, and that is a huge piece of intel off the board. 2 Dokkaebi calls gone in pocket, 2 flashbangs gone as well. And that's a lot of that clearing utility, just going to make it a lot harder to clear out the top floor and really any other part of the map that Syntax wants to go for.
was gonna say, I applaud Syntax for keeping their composure. I'm interested to see how they deal with such an early man disadvantage. Because we haven't seen such an early man disadvantage from them. I mean, talk about 30 seconds, talk about 15 seconds into the round, right? I mean, we see them lose players on the first entry, but not quite like this. They've also lost Cadence in the fray of it all. Sneaky does go down, though, for Orglis' side. And it looks like it's going to be a cheeky rush strat once again from the side of Syntax. Can Orglis bend off the aggression, or will Syntax once again be able to capitalize off of this hasty play?
It seems like they are completely prepared for it as Orglis, Scoobers, and Fritos take down Obsession 2 versus 4 now, even with only one person on the second floor. All the feet holes making this very tough for Syntax to get through, as Immune is going to take down Hex down to just West in the 1 versus 4. Borderline impossible situation for West now. And this was just a really poorly organized attack, unfortunately, from Syntax. Obviously, the Dokkaebi going out so early makes the push a lot harder, able to get a 1-for-1, but just not enough, as Orglis Scoobers are just isolating all of these gunfights and not allowing for any of the refrags to come through for Syntax. You have to applaud as West with a very nice floor bang on to Immune, catches the player proning, down to a 1 versus 3 now, and Orglis going to continue being this incredibly aggressive team that we have seen them be here on Cafe. Going to be swinging everything as Artix takes down West, and you have to applaud the persistence by Orglis to just continue to spawn peek, even though it hadn't worked the first 2 rounds, just continuing to do it, and eventually it pays off, and this is going to continue to slow Syntax down, which is not the style of Siege they're trying to play.
I think Orglis knew how to meet Syntax, and therefore Syntax has met their match. Like, Orglis knew that the only way to stop a wholly aggressive team is to fight fire with fire. Right? You have to be more aggressive. You have to be more mechanically sound as a team. And that is exactly what they're doing. They're trying to get those cheeky plays off the board. They're trying to get those early man advantages. And the second that they do, it comes back around and hands them the round win, right? Because when you lose those important players like that, when you lose, I mean, honestly, anybody on that first entry, if you are Syntax, you're going to have a really tough time finding that momentum, because they gain their confidence from those first entries. They're essentially unstoppable once you find your way into the map, once you get that first entry, because now you're your whole cohesive unit, right? Now you're running your way through the map, you're having your way with the floors, this huge map of Cafe, and it is so hard to stop a push that has been mounted this far. Orglis Scoobers, they know how to play it, and you love to see it. I'm interested to see how Syntax responds to this.
Yeah, and there, like you were saying, there's exactly 2 ways to be an aggressive team like Syntax. It's to be more aggressive than them and catch them with their pants down, or it's to play so incredibly slow that they basically walk into your crosshairs. And Orglis Scoobers just flexing on Syntax right now should realistically be up 3-0 had it not been for the astronomical whiff by the Mute, and just going through these early round engagements almost flawlessly thus far. And there's really been no answer for Syntax, and it's looking almost like it's going to continue the same way, as they aren't having any of those split takes, that early aggression that we are so used to seeing from Syntax. Everybody's just kind of mounting in the same areas, and everybody from Orglis seems to be catching on super early.
We got a Brava up on the board. How are you feeling about Brava? I was asked this question last map.
I would say if there is ever a time to run a Brava, it's now. Brava, it's always helpful at the very least to have 2 extra drones on the board. But when you bring in a Maestro, you bring in a Valkyrie, you bring in an Aruni, Brava's value goes absolutely through the roof. So I love the Brava pick, and I love to see teams digging deeper into their bag of utility as Zen is able to pick up a kill on to Cadence. Another opening entry not going the way of Syntax. And this Monty all alone right now inside of Cigar Lounge. Gonna finally get some support, but by Obsession. But Zen picks up another one, taking down West. There's your Brava. Everything just falling apart for Syntax right now. And gonna have to look to get some of these picks back, but nothing gonna work. Fritos takes down Obsession with the Nitro Sound. Artix takes down Yumzy. Artix with 2 beautiful shots. Gonna secure another round for Orgless Goobers. And Syntax with absolutely no answer for this thorough, strong defense from Orgless Goobers.
Can we just, like, tip our hat to that Aruni for a second there? Like, did you see how that Aruni held it down? Held it down? Held down the fort? The fort? Like, I cannot say that enough. That is literally insane.
Yeah,
like
Aruni
you had the
was
Aruni
in a bad
spinning
spot.
around. You literally had the Aruni spinning around, doing 180s, paying attention to the Monty, paying attention to the player on the window all the way from Cigar, paying attention to the player on vents. I mean, like, so incredibly unstoppable. Mind you, the remaining players on Orgless were also holding it down, coming to the aid of the Aruni. That's how you know this is a cohesive unit. Players are coming to help. They're coming to play with the trade. I mean, Orgless, they're unstoppable right now. If they continue to get these first picks on these entries for Syntax, we could very well see a 4-2, a 5-1 round split by the time we hit our 7th round.
Yeah, have to see something change from Syntax. Nothing working, and is amazing as those plays were from Artix. You have to question what's going on with Syntax. They had 3 players all with the same objective of distracting and killing that Aruni. Nobody able to land the shots, and like you were saying, just doing 360 after 360 after 360, and no player should survive in a corridor with tons of crosses being held on it, as West is going to finally capitalize on some of the aggression from Orgless Goobers, taking down Fritos. Down goes your Valkyrie. That is 1 Nitro Cell off the board early. Still plenty more in pockets from Sneaky and Artix. And for the first time since the previous Syntax round win, we're seeing them get on the board early and capitalize on the aggression from Orgless Goobers, and I think that's what they have to do at this point. You have to play slow baity siege. You have to make Orgless walk into your crosshairs, because trying to contest them head on has done absolutely nothing for you throughout these first 4 rounds here on Cafe.
I cannot agree with you more. I mean, throw out a little fun statistic for you to prove your point a little bit more. Out of the 4 rounds that have been played thus far, we have had a 100% first pick to round win ratio. That tells you that whether Syntax gets the first pick or they lose the first pick determines deeply if they win that round. So if they are able to come up with the momentum, if they're able to come up with the confidence off of the heels of that first pick, we are going to see a round win from them. Which, if we're going to be correct, I mean, should happen this round. We saw the first pick from Syntax on the Fritos, but then we also saw the trade a little bit later onto the Buff. So now it is a 4v4. The pace definitely has slowed down on the side of Syntax. They are trying to spot out the remaining players for Orgless and perhaps do a 1-2 pinch, hopefully with the use of some of that Grim utility, maybe that dope coming in as well. We've also got a nade on the board for Obsession.
Yeah, our highlighted player from the beginning of the match, Obsession, at 0-4 right now. Obviously, that is not helping Syntax case. As a player goes down to a Frost mat, Hex is going to go down, but Obsession, right as I'm talking about them, with a double, and West with another one, and it looks like that trend is coming to play as 3 kills from Obsession highlight a round win for Syntax. And like you said, first pick has been a round winner every single round so far on Cafe. 5 rounds, the opening pick has won, and gonna have to see Syntax continue with that trend if they want any chance of bringing it back. But they looked so much better on that attack, so much more organized, and generally just better default siege from the team that we know can play that well in Syntax.
Well, I think they exploited Orgless getting a little bit overly ambitious, right? A lot of their
Defenders, protect
players
your
were
bombs from being
deeply
defused by
isolated.
attackers.
They were able to take their ones, and Syntax essentially pulled a 2-on-1 on most of their engagements with the remaining roamers. I feel like if Orgless wasn't so split up, they definitely could have held the crosses and wasted more time for Syntax, forcing them into those crosses, forcing those errors on their end. But we didn't see that. Orgless got a little bit too aggressive towards the end of the round. I feel like if they get overly confident, that's where they mess up, right? That's where they misstep. And we do not want to see that from them, especially because we know that Syntax from those first picks does get confident, right? And we don't want to see Orgless get overly confident, especially when they've already been picked off.
ATS deployed and ready to go.
Yeah, I think you got it on the nose. Just the over-aggression, the overconfidence. Orgless had been playing the refrag like it was their bread and butter. And in that last round, they started out doing really well with it, but were just not able to answer back. And I think that you were completely right. The over-aggression, the overconfidence in having won so many of their ones throughout these first 5-ish rounds, and just, I think, completely cost them that previous round. Weren't able to get any of the refrags on any player who died after that opening pick came through and the Nitro Cell came for the refrag. And gonna have to get back to that for Orgless if they want to secure a 4-2 split and put themselves in a really good position to win Cafe, which you would say is definitely a defender-sided map. So a 4-2 split would definitely serve them well. 3-3 split might be having them a little upset with themselves later down the road.
I like the fact that Orgless is giving us a different pace, essentially almost every round. They're kind of weaseling their way around Syntax right now, because they get aggressive and then they back off. They get aggressive and then they back off. It's like you don't know what to expect from them, and it is so hard to predict what they're going to do next. It's like they play up, get a kill, play back, then play up even more. It's like they want to be super aggressive, but they're being held back. Session though.
Yeah, we see it.
It's gonna pick off the first kill. A double kill, triple.
Wow.
To follow.
Oh my.
Already. We see the confidence coming in for Syntax. We see the execute coming to form for them. It's already a 4v1 though. You're gonna see Immune at this point. Having to do a 1v5 clutch ace to win it off. And it won't happen. Maidens find the headshot for Immune. Held that cross really well. Already knew where that Jaeger was coming from. Pillar side. 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you would say after watching that first half that it seemed like Orgless Goobers played the better half. It seemed like they were so much more tight-knit up until those final 2 rounds, but just good teams find ways to get desirable scores and desirable splits. And Syntax, even after playing what I would argue is a really bad half up until those final 2 rounds, able to come out with a 3-3 split, which they have to be really happy with heading into defense on Cafe, as we do see our first round of bans coming out here. We do see the Ying and the Blackbeard, as well as the Azami and the Castle. Almost identical bans, just having the Ying swapped out for the Blitz. Clearly, neither one of these teams wanting to have to deal with Azami or the Castle, making so many of the positions on Cafe power positions, and it's going to open up a lot more of the map to these crosses, especially from the repels.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how Syntax deals
Defenders,
with
protect
that.
your bombs from being defused by
Because,
attackers.
I mean, from the way that they handled it on Bank, they found their way around CEO pretty well. I mean, on when they were attacking. Let me take one more look. When they were attacking CEO the first time around, which is the only time we actually got to see CEO,
Bomb located by
unfortunately
attackers.
they lost. The second time when they were defending it, they definitely had a little bit more success there. They had a little bit more luck, but I'm interested to see this time around on different maps, on Cafe, how they're going to handle the repel, how they're going to handle essentially becoming a pincushion, as you see so many pressure points being attacked from the side of Syntax. Now, also, Syntax as a team, I'm interested to see how they take their defenses in general, if they're going to be aggressive and ambitious, which it looks like they are, or if they're going to take the opportunity, play it a little bit more passive, try to make Orglis come to them.
Yeah, Zen with an opening kill on to West. Down goes your Frost early. And I think this is the great mystery of this matchup, is both teams trying to pace change so much, and it's just which team has the better pace setter for the round. And it seems like one team is almost always caught off guard. We have been very rarely seeing a team have a very close round. Obviously, the one round that the first defensive round, or excuse me, attacking round Syntax got was close, but it's been borderline flawless rounds from either team besides that, and a little surprised that neither team has been able to catch on, and both of them just trying to go with the mind games so hard, as Yumzy not going to be able to land the shots on the run out. Zen was completely prepared for the run out, and now a 5v3 4v3 as Kaden's able to get one back, and wanting to get the refrag back, wanting to get numbers back to even so badly are Syntax, and unfortunately has landed them in a 3 versus 4 spot here. With Obsession dying on the flank, Sneaky gets one, Immune gets one, and it's down to just Hex, who also goes down. And another round for Orglis Goobers, setting the pace really nicely here on this attack, just switching paces throughout round, and Syntax with no answer for it.
I mean, off rip from that first pick, I knew that Orglis was much more composed than Syntax. I feel like Syntax is struggling much more to keep up with Orglis, and they are just one step ahead when it comes to pacing.
Attackers
It's like
need to locate and defuse
Orglis
bombs.
gives Syntax something, Syntax adapts, they're able to get around, then Orglis comes back, gets around, Syntax now has to change, gets around. It's like this very back and forth kind of hot potato of who is going to win the next round. Or is there going to be a sort of chain reaction where Orglis or perhaps Syntax can come out on top if they're able to finally find their groove and get the momentum in this game? I'm really hoping one team can finally crack the code and say, hey, this is what we have to do to finally shut down this opposition. Let's do it, let's make it happen. But I feel like these teams are just on such a high level when it comes to, okay, this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do next, that it becomes so hard. I mean, this game is so great with how adaptations are done round to round. Those little minuscule operator changes or half the positioning changes. It just comes down to, okay, how are we going to get this next one? What can we do to change?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a round-by-round thing for Syntax or for Orglis after losing whichever set of rounds they had lost. Obviously, Orglis, after losing those final 2 defensive rounds, coming out with a really, really strong attack. And they are just seeming to constantly be able to adjust to what Syntax is bringing. Whether it was getting a very slow-paced first kill, as this time Hex is able to find the opener onto Fritos. Down goes the Buck, who is lurking hell. And that is so much of your verticality taken, and it seems like that's really what they were going for, was that player lurking below, trying to displace a lot of these defenders inside of Cocktail. Gonna have Fritos off the board, gonna make this attack, this what seemed to be a heavy downstairs attack, a lot harder for Orglis. But again, they are switching up the pace so often. They got in with they got in, they sent that player super fast, and everybody else still outside the building. But Yumzy with a double kill on the run out, and the pace change again. Yumzy with another run out, completely catching Orgless off guard, and down to a 3 versus 2 now, as there was a nade kill that did come out. Arctic's down to about 1 HP, taking damage from the Wamai. And it just trade after trade, and this is one of the closer rounds. It seems like both teams sort of adjusting to one thing, and then the other team throwing something right back at them. And finally, we're getting one of these close rounds where it seems like Orgless really could pull this out, but even though Syntax is in a much better situation, still having Zen and the Raora up, as West is able to take down Arctics, down to just Zen in the 1 versus 3. Case is on the ground. Plenty of crosses being held. Sprinting by is Zen, but in between a rock and a hard place, between the deployable shield and the Wamai, Wamai will go down. 1 versus 2 now. Both players from Syntax going to tuck. Not going to try and give away any isolated gunfights to Zen. Zen more than capable with the R4C in hand. West still sitting on this deployable shield. Will be able to see this player swings deep, but it's Cadence going on the deployable shield with the cross, with the frost, able to take down Zen. And a great round for Syntax here on the defense. And just like you've been saying, both teams seeming to figure each other out after 1 round, and it's just back and forth and back and forth.
It's like every new bomb site brings something new. It brings a new challenge for the attack to have to overcome. But, I mean, at this point, it's anyone's game, yes. But we also see Orgless being 1 step ahead consistently. And mind you, they're on attack, so that's not particularly the favored side when it comes to Cafe. So you would think that Syntax should be that 1 step ahead, but they simply are not. It's like Orgless has been consistently able to set the pace. And if they do continue that trend, they very well might be able to come out on top and win that out. But this so far has been great siege. You love to see it. And we get a blur that left.
Reloading.
You don't love to
Just
see
as I
that
say.
Yumzy
Yeah,
out.
just as I say,
Great
just as I
timing.
say, great siege, guys. Yeah, great siege.
Nothing like a DC to send Syntax into a 4 versus 5. Have not called for a rehost yet. West calling for the rehost.
I think they might have to play through the round because that happened post pick phase.
Is that rule? I wasn't sure if it was into prep phase or into pick phase. It was 15 seconds into one or the other, so maybe having to redo this. Yumzy is back in, and gonna have to look to even up the man count now. Syntax down to a 4 versus 5 before the round even gets underway. With that Monty on the board, gonna have so much of that displacement. Gonna be able to just send the Monty in somebody's face, and in a 4v5, you can't afford to lose another body. Gonna have to play really tight-knit, gonna have to do what we saw so much from Orgless Scoobers on their defensive half. Gonna have to play really tight-knit, really close on the refrag, and try and double up for a lot of the kills if Syntax want to be able to overcome this 4v5. As the Monty is spotted out, and the Nitrosol, unfortunately, lands on the hatch. Unfortunate throw for Cadence, and map control starting to be taken early on now by Orgless. Arctic's on this Monty, has cleared 3rd floor. Multiple players on 2nd floor right now in the Mozzie and the Sentry. Monty gonna turn their back, and that's a free kill for Obsession. That's exactly what they needed to get back into this round. And the Monty off all by themselves. If there's one thing a Shield player should never do, it's walk off by themselves without anybody droning ahead of them. Rookie play by Arctic's gonna cost them heavily here, but plenty more gunfights are coming through as we are going to see Obsession fall off. Cadence will be sticking upstairs. Gonna have to look for another kill. Landing some shots onto Immune, getting wallbanged. Cadence in the dumps right now. Gonna need to get at least one more, but unfortunately unable to, as Immune will take it down Cadence. But so much damage done to this Orgless Scoobers team. Fritos and Zen down to about 50 apiece, and Immune down to about 20 HP. I would argue that's a very worthwhile roam, as the time is also down to less than a minute now for Orgless Scoobers, and not as much time or HP as they would like for this execute coming up.
I mean, they still do have the Buck in the back pocket. That's going to do a lot of vertical damage, put Syntax in those uncomfortable spots on that 1st floor. But just as I say that, Obsession's going to take down Fritos, that Buck player. That's also dealing with a lot of the utility from the side of Orgel Scoopers. And speaking about utility, we've also got some nades up on the board still on the side of Sneaky and Immune. We've got the Breach, and we've got drones sitting up. Great economy thus far for Orgel Scoopers to use, but will they use it in the remaining 20? Does not quite look like it. Obsession's going to take another player off the board and look to roam around, place some ring around the Rosie near that coat check side. It's going to have to force Zen and Immune to play for him, but Wes is going to pick up Zen from the side, and Wes with another! That's Immune to go off the board, and that is a great round for Syntax, who started off with a DC in a 4v5, was able to exploit the overambition from Orgel Scoopers and get that round win, stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, and it was exactly what we said Syntax needed to do. Need to play together, need to play tight-knit, need to play these crosses and refrags, and they did it to a T. Obsession, who, mind you, started 0-4 in this game, up to 8 kills now at 8-6. A monster performance ever since those first 4 rounds. And just refrags coming out left and right, and you just have to highlight the over-aggression from the Monty of Arctics. Ultimately, I think that's what cost them the round. You send your Monty off by themselves, and these players are able to waste out so much time. Have to be more patient if you're on the shield, and you just have to play smarter, more tight-knit Siege. If you're Orgel Scoopers in the 5 versus 4, can't let Syntax come from behind and take away what really should be a free round for you.
I mean, the second that you have those unforced errors, your opposition, they're going to take advantage of it, and especially when you're playing such a tightly contested game like this, where it is very much back and forth. You can't have those little errors. Not have those little errors. I mean, Orglis, they're definitely going to learn going forward. I mean, it doesn't even look like they're picking the Monty at this point. Looks like they're opting for a more aggressive lineup. Got the Amaru up on the board. Not opting for that flank. They're not going to go for that vertical play, even though Syntax is going on second floor, which is where Buck would do a hefty amount of damage vertically. Looks like Orglis might go for a rush.
Yeah, whenever you see that Amaru come out on the board, you're expecting something cheesy, you're expecting something quick. Gonna be curious to see where Fritos goes. There's really a couple main spots that you would take an Amaru with the diffuser, and in through the freezer is definitely one of them. We do see the Capital on the board with fire, with smoke. We'll be able to cut off a lot of the line of sights around the fireplace bomb site. And it may just be straight up through the freezer hatch for Fritos, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly where they're positioned. But Yummy, sitting inside of mining, not sure if Orglis has droned this player out in a really good position to capitalize off an aggressive play. Still plenty of map control right now for Syntax. Nobody even in the building at this point, and it's going to have to be that organized rush from Orglis Goobers. As we do see Obsession lurking here on these red stairs. There seems like they might be somewhat aware of what Orglis Goobers are attempting to do, but Zen with the kill onto Cadence, playing really slow, trying to get some of these opening picks and find a gap for this rush plant to go through. 5 versus 4, a minute 45 left on the clock. Dokubi call, the first, has been rung out, and still playing so slow right now as Orglis Goobers. Sneaky is finally into the map, top red at the moment. Going to be walking down, might be taking some of these gunfights as Yumzy going to take about 50 HP inside of Train. And it looks like some of this utility is getting repositioned. They might be ready for this play finally. Fritos is set below. Capitao heading up on to the rappel as Sneaky is still taking plenty of gunfights, pulling the eyes of Syntax as much as possible. But for what seemed like it was going to be a really quick round, has turned really, really slow for Orglis Goobers thus far. But Hex on the flank, gonna take down Sneaky. Down goes the Ace. 4 versus 4 now with less than a minute left. The Amaru still, I don't even think has been discovered yet by Syntax. Second Dokubi call is going to come out, and if there's ever a time that you want to go for it, it's gonna have to be now. Fritos still sitting inside of freezer, waiting so patiently. And Obsession here on white stairs seems to be in a position to stop it, as Fritos going to hop right up. That shotgun not good at anything more than close range, but Yumzy with the read takes down Fritos. Diffuser is down inside of the bomb site. Zen is going to hop in, down to about 20 HP with the goo mine in foot. Immune going to take down West. 3 versus 3 now. Zen seems to have the read. Beautiful shot from the Zofia. Down goes Hex. 3 versus 2 now. Still have the Diffuser down, and a shotgun in hand from Yumzy. Gonna see the swing coming out. Down goes the Dokkaebi. And Obsession with 1, down to a 2 versus 1. Gonna have to get the kills, but nothing happening. Yumzy with the shotgun in pocket. Not running, not scared at all. Absolutely beautifully done from the smoke with the shotgun in pocket.
Can I just add, that was the first round. We have seen the first pick to round win conversion ratio be defied completely. Orglis was
10 rounds in.
the first, yes, 10 rounds in. Orglis was the first team to get the first pick on that board. And Syntax pulls it off.
Defenders, protect
Insane
your
hero
bombs.
play.
Being
This is
defused by
exactly
attackers.
what Syntax needed to get that edge on Orglis. I cannot imagine what is going through Orglis's minds at this point. I mean, I certainly would have taken attack timeout if I was them. Because after that play on Yumzy,
Activating camera.
I mean, you gotta take a beat. You gotta take a moment and say, hey, what are we doing wrong? How did we lose that? What happened? How are we gonna do better? Because now it's match point. Now you're back against the wall. And yes, it is 6-4, but you still have to win 2 rounds in a row,
5
mind
seconds
you,
left before
on
insertion.
attack, in order to win, or in order to go into overtime, period. Right? To even get a chance at winning the game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, more to your
completely
point.
back against the wall.
Continue.
No, you go.
Okay, yeah, more to your point, Syntax has won 3 straight against Orglis. They have not been able to get anything done in the last 4 rounds. It looks like Obsession wants to capitalize off the aggression. Gonna just barely miss out on Fritos. Not seeming to want to jump out yet, but bad timing for Obsession for sure. But
Deploying Selma.
3 rounds in a row, you have to take attack timeout. On a map like Cafe, if you can't get anything started, I don't know how you're expecting anything to change without some sort of a mental reset. Immune seems to have the read on the player bottom white. Not going to actually hit the run out is Yumzy. And it has been a total 180 for Syntax, having played what looked to be the worst siege we have seen out of them in quite a long time. Completely flipped to having Obsession have a monster performance ever since that 4th round on the first half. West at 11-7, Yumzy coming in clutch. Hex and Caden's both doing their part when needed. And like you said, we're on to match point, and Syntax have all the momentum right now. Not sure exactly what the plan is for Orglis Goobers, but gonna have to do something a little different here if they want anything to work out in their favor.
Magnets ready.
Absolutely. I think the overarching vibe here, the memo that we're getting, is that Orglis is not as composed as Syntax on their attacking half. For sure. And we have to remember, Syntax chose attack. Syntax chose attack to start on Cafe. This was Orglis'
Changing
pick,
max.
so they knew they were confident on it.
No way.
Getting back to the game. We're gonna go to 4v2. Wes is gonna pick up one and all at once. Syntax wins. Hello? A victory just like that. I damn near missed the action. 7-4 already.
What just happened? I don't know if you caught it. The dock was downed. The player whiffed the rest of their mag and couldn't get the finish on the dock. Another player swung out from bathroom and got the immediate refrag. That was an insane round, and it all happened so fast. And have to give huge props to Syntax for down 3-1 on what they chose as their attack on Cafe, bringing it all the way back to win 7-4. And they had a complete 180. I don't know what was said. Maybe one of their coaches during the ban phase had hit them with a little mental reset. It was a complete 180, so much better team play. And as we can see on the board here, huge performances from West and Obsession specifically. Just both putting the team on their back throughout the last 7 rounds or so of this map of Cafe. And huge props to Syntax, huge props to the players, huge props to their coach, as that was a really, really great match.
Okay, but Cadence with the 100% headshot ratio?
That's nice.
We crazy. Crazy, by the way. Lowest cost. Actually, second lowest cost, right next to Obsession, which is kind of funny considering Obsession did go off with the KD.
Yep.
But second lowest cost. We got a 100% headshot ratio. That counts for something, right? Second player with the most headshot ratio is Arctix. Crazy plays, huh?
Yeah, interesting. Both the players negative by 2 kills, both with incredibly high headshot percentages. Goes to show you, I guess not everything is about the headshots. You can shoot people in the feet enough and still have a big impact. And really, really great performance. It started off as for Orgos Goobers. Arctix at one point, I believe, was 7-3, 7-4. Arctix ending 7-9, and it seemed like once they lost the momentum, Orgos Goobers really just could not gain it back. Everybody who was doing good, Arctix, Zen, and Immune throughout those first few rounds, just getting completely shut down, and obviously was not helped at all by Fritos at 3-8, and very low cost for the bottom 3 players of Orgos Goobers. Still had a very high cost for Sneaky and Immune, but not the ending they were looking for. And like you mentioned, really surprised that a timeout wasn't called and that their mental wasn't reset, because they just seemed so mentally chalked through those last few rounds, not playing the type of siege that we saw in those first 4 rounds, that aggressive style that was really outplaying Syntax.
Yeah, and I think that was also a product of them going on their attacking rounds and not particularly knowing how to deal with Syntax's defense. I think they had a lot of trouble being able to read Syntax's defense because, I mean, you're going up against a team that prides themselves on getting that first pick, so then you have to be even more aggressive on your entries. You have to be very dominant, and that is hard for a team to keep their composure, to keep their entry stats up, and to keep that momentum moving over and over and over again on your attack. I mean, you have to use utility to the highest extent. You have to have the greatest drone economy. And it is so intense, especially on a map like Cafe that is so huge, that requires so much organization and map control to do anything in the round. I mean, you really have to use your time so precisely. You only get 3 minutes in the round to be able to conquer 3 floors. Even if you play a horizontal game, which is what we did see quite a few rounds, it is a struggle to get any sort of map control in the round without suffering some sort of collateral. And I feel like Orgos, they just weren't able to keep up on their attacking rounds. I think Syntax really found their edge once they got onto their defense, which, I mean, you could say was a result of them picking attack first. They were like, the rationale could have been, okay, let's get this attack over with, and then we'll be able to set the pace correctly when we're on our defenses, and we'll be able to get the edge, win that. I liked it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you mentioned is Cafe is such a big map about drone economy and utility, and Orgos Goobers were really just trying to play a really gun-heavy style siege. They just weren't clearing out utility. So many rounds that were centered around that third floor cigar hold, the deployable shield never got dealt with. They were just constantly able to sit in pixel and just hold crosses across the entirety of cigar lounge and all the way into that new balcony position. And it's just really confusing why there was no cut set up. They were just trying to take one-on-one gunfights. And if you're going to take one-on-one gunfights with Syntax, you're not going to be winning all the time. Once they catch on to your style, they are going to learn how to outplay you. And teams as good as Syntax can adjust to the same play style, to the same strategies over and over again. And we saw them completely adjust and completely counter out what ended up being the exact same thing over and over again from Orgos Goobers, just wanting to flex, just wanting to gun down as much as possible. And really great adjustments, really well done from Syntax to adjust to that throughout the entirety of Cafe, and especially after those first 4 rounds.
And I mean, I think a little like tangential point for sure is that like to continue on your point is like when you are on Cafe, kind of like zooming out, like when you are on Cafe, you can brute force on your defenses, right? You can, as Orgless, you can be that aggressive defensive team, get the early momentum in the round, and have the confidence to finish it out, right? Especially because you have the immediate advantage, right? You are getting attacked. But when you're on your attacks, it requires such a depth of not only mechanical ability, but also utility. It requires intel. It requires that technical ability that we just weren't able to see from Orgless. I feel like they tried to take their play style that they had from their defense and apply it to their attack. And then honestly, you're right, it didn't work out. They weren't able to clear the utility that they needed to. They weren't able to get the intel that they needed to. Their drone economy was a little bit busted. Their utility economy for sure was busted. I mean, we saw many rounds that they had still nades on the board. They had smokes on the board. They had flashes on the board. And they still had their main gadgets on the board in general, right? So it's like they had the idea, the execution of it was still that like brute force mentality, which that can only get you so far when you're on such a big map like Cafe. Syntax, they took advantage of it. So hats off to them. That was an incredible, incredible game of Siege that we saw. And if you don't have any other comments, then I think we'll be heading off. No.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean, it was a great matchup. That's about all I got.
Yeah. Alrighty, everybody. Well, again, that was an incredible game of Siege. We are going to be back tomorrow with another play date. And I'm very excited. That was so amazing. I don't know. I might be back for tomorrow. I might not be back for tomorrow. But either way, everybody, have a wonderful night, and we will see you soon.
Retribution.